Reeves tied the feat as he racked up 1,733 yards and led Winnipeg to a Grey Cup championship. Last week, Montreal's Mike Pringle became the third member of this exclusive group. But he's not just going for 9 straight. He's chasing the league's first 2,000-yard season. Tonight, Pringle looks to set his name apart from the rest versus the Bombers on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Well, anytime's football, but when it feels just right, we're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be high. It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up the parties, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, kick back, relax, watching Friday Night Football. Boys, it's too bad, playing CFL football. Game is up for grabs. It's Friday Night Football tonight.
This is Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN. Tonight, the Alouettes and the Blue Bombers from Winnipeg Stadium in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
I'll take tomato, mustard, relish, ketchup. Give me the works on that burger. Hey, everybody, welcome to Adidas Friday Night Football. It's JD and ET, the mini version of the panel. Yes, Schulte has abandoned us once again tonight. No, he doesn't have his own spin-off sitcom. He'll be in the booth in Winnipeg tonight. And I tell you what, as we said off the top, Mike Pringle going for history tonight, looking for his 9th straight 100-yard game. As for the Bombers, they're just hoping their season isn't history. They're 1-11, and they need this one badly. And Eric, it kind of looks like a blowout when you look at the standings, but not necessarily.
Well, this is a very, very dangerous game, Montreal. They still have a real opportunity to come in first in the East. They also are precariously close to 3rd place as well. They're coming off a tough physical game in Hamilton, a game where they had to play 70 minutes, not 60, an overtime, and they got an awful lot of injuries, James. If they're not ready to play tonight, if they let Winnipeg get in the game early, anything could happen.
Now, Anthony Cavillo in for the injured Tracy Ham at quarterback for the Owls. That's not necessarily a bad thing, you think?
Well, you know what? It's interesting. There's some people around the league that think this is a better football team with Anthony Calvillo at the trigger. They think they have more balance. He clearly is the better passer, so it's going to be interesting to see. You know, last week he played about 25 minutes, was outstanding, led the Owls back to a tie in Hamilton, and they have a lot of confidence in him, James.
Now, as we mentioned off the top, this is the Reader's Digest condensed version of the panel tonight because the big guy, Schulte, is in the peg. He'll call the game with Gord Miller. Gord, please take it easy on our boy.
James, I don't think I'll be acting up too much tonight with Big Chris at my side. Montreal and Winnipeg played in week 1 of the season, Chris. The Alouettes won that game by 3 points, coming from behind to beat the Bombers here. What are the keys for the Alouettes tonight?
Well, I think the #1 key for the Alouettes tonight is don't get fancy. The fact is that this is the best running team in the Canadian Football League, which sets up the play-action pass. Continue to run the football. Don't use opportunities outside of the running game. #2, blitz Troy Kopp. Obviously had a terrible time against the Toronto Argonauts last week. Force him into mistakes. We'll see what he's made of in the first quarter. #3, contain the Bombers' special teams. Eric Blunt is leading the league in return yards. That's field position, and I think field position will be critical to try to make Winnipeg go the entire length, not just a 40-yard, make him drive 80 yards. They do those 3 things, they'll do well.
Now, for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who, believe it or not, still have playoff aspirations, what are the keys against Montreal?
Well, I think the #1 key in Montreal is the fact that you have to tackle Mike Pringle. I think he's the best contact runner. The fact is, if you tackle him and don't allow him that second effort, that second 2 or 3 yards, it really affects first down opportunities. Get the ball to Milt Stegall. He's by far the biggest, most explosive athlete in the Canadian Football League. Get him the football in open space. #2, Kopp has to be patient. He went 2 and out 10 times last week versus the Toronto Argonauts. You can't do that because that disrupts rhythm. There's no continuity, and really it's just a matter of the fact that when you don't have rhythm and continuity, you're out of the game before you know it.
You know, Montreal has won 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two teams, but the average margin in those 5 games was just 3 points. So we might look for a close one tonight between the Alouettes and Blue Bombers, and I promise to behave.
Please do. You know, Schultz, he looks pretty good there. Got to learn how to hold the mic a little bit straighter, though. Big weekend for football, also a big weekend for baseball. Of course, Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa both chasing home run number 66. They're both playing tonight. If one of them hits one or more, we will bring it to you right away as they chase immortality. Now, one of our own is also chasing a bit of immortality this weekend, Glenn Suter. It's a big weekend for him in Regina. We'll talk to Glenn when we return.
You remember Jay. He still doesn't say very much, especially when he's enjoying his McCain Super Fries. And he doesn't seem to care that they've only got 5% fat because they still taste great. McCain Super Fries, deep-fried flavor and crispness with only 5% fat. For the strong, silent type.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
At National Tilden, we believe that when it comes to renting a car, there's really only one place to go. Because at most major airports in Canada, National Tilden gets you in your car and on the road fast. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. National Tilden.
Potholes, alignment killers.
My car starts shaking, it's time for an alignment.
I hate that shimmying thing.
For $44.95, you can get a honkin' boutonniere or a Midas alignment special.
You get a computerized wheel alignment.
Rotate and balance all 4 tires.
And a free written brake inspection.
A bad alignment can really chew up your tires. This is merely a dramatization. The mind, the body, and the car should all be aligned as one.
$44.95 for an alignment? That's a special occasion.
Second down and 2 to go. McCann looks to go deep, and he's picked up. Intercepted by Glenn Suter. And he's nailed by Blaze Bryant. Kerrigan for DPS, intercepted by Suter. A 35-yard attempt for David Ridgway. It's up. It's good. And it's picked up by Suter, who runs it out of bounds. The Riders have won it.
Just a few of the moments from the great career of our own Glenn Suter, who joins us now from Regina, where this weekend he will be inducted into the Saskatchewan Rough Rider Plaza of Honor. Congrats, Glenn, but I thought this kind of honor only went to old guys.
Well, that's what I thought, too, and I've been receiving a few gray hair jokes anyway, so I guess I am old enough to be put in, but it's a great honor, and what a great few days it's been, and it's just amazing. It's a real humbling experience to be have my name beside some of the names that are on the wall, and boy, I talked to Roger Goree, one of the other inductees, and talk about football for a solid 4 or 5 days here, and it's been a lot of fun and a great honor.
Glenn, we just saw the footage of you holding on Dave Ridgway's Grey Cup winning field goal, one of the great moments in Rider history. How often do you find yourself looking back to that day in 1989?
You know, I think back to the way we got there. I think that, you know, some great football players have played in Grey Cup games and not won it. It was an exciting game, an exciting play, but I think of, when I think back to that year, sort of the road to the Grey Cup. We were a 9-9 football team. We were sort of a blue-collar group that really got it together down the stretch, had a great end of the regular season, and then went into the playoffs on a roll and beat a tremendous football team at 16-2 in the Edmonton Eskimos in their park in the Western Final to get into the Cup. And when I think of the highs and lows of that season, I think that's where it really becomes emotional for me, because we went through a roller coaster, and every time something bad happened, that group came closer together, and it was just a privilege to be part of it.
Glenn, what you were is becoming more and more of a rarity in pro sports today. 11 years with the same team, and in a great football town like Regina. That must make this weekend that much more special.
It really does, Eric. You know, when I look back on my career, and you start to look at stats and things like that, but you know what?
that's really all individual stuff. I think what I'm most proud of is two things. One, that I was able to play my whole 11 years with this one football team, and if I had to do it all over again, as hard as the fans can be on you in this city, I would do it exactly the same way, because they care about their team. They believe in this country and in the CFL and how important it is to the country, and that makes it that much more special when you can be part of a province that has that much pride in its football team and cares so much about it. It makes it that much nicer. And the other thing that I'm real proud about in my career when I look back is the fact that I never missed a game. I don't think I was a real flashy player, and there were a lot better athletes than I was, but I like the fact that I was always reliable, and my teammates knew that every game day I was going to be there.
Now, I know last week at the Hall of Fame game you introduced your own Oliver Stone-ish conspiracy theory that DBs are somehow being kept out of the Hall of Fame. At least with this, you're getting some kind of credit.
Well, I was, you know, when I had Poplawski up there and Tommy Scott, I had a couple of receivers. I had to give them a jab here or there because, I mean, a couple of greats and well-deserving. But I like to see the DBs every now and then get a little bit of, you know, a little bit of pub. But, you know, it is a great honor, and Johnny Bell also is inducted, Roger Goree. It's a fantastic honor, and Johnny Bell's wife, Sophie, is here. Of course, he passed away about a month ago, but had found out before he passed that he was being inducted and was thrilled about it. Roger, he says every time he sees a picture, he's getting these goosebumps. So it's a really exciting weekend to be involved in, and we get to talk a lot of football and reminisce.
Well, congrats, Suits. We're very proud of you, but don't forget you do have to work on Sunday.
I have to... Wait a minute. I thought this was just like the freebie weekend. You mean I have to also work?
You do indeed,
You know
yes.
what? It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a good football game.
Well, we look forward to your call, and thanks a lot.
Guys.
And yes, Glenn will be in the booth on Sunday when we bring you the Riders and Stampeders on Sunday afternoon. And yes, this is a big one. The Stamps won big last week. The Riders need this one bad. We'll be back, everybody.
Suzuki introduces the all-new 5-passenger Grand Vitara V6. And to celebrate, we're giving TSN viewers a chance to drive one home. Send us your list of the top 6 race car drivers of all time to P.O. Box 220, Gormley, Ontario, L0H1G0. Or hit tsn.ca/Suzuki to enter online. Send us your top 6 for a chance to win a V6. The Grand Vitara and TSN have the power to take you to heights you've never explored before. The all-new Suzuki Grand Vitara V6. All you have to do is win one.
Hey, you know, there's always one guy that's the last guy off the ice, and that's the kind of guy I designed my equipment for. Made by Winwell, and it's called Don Cherry's Original Series. The Winwell glove, my elbow pads, and my specialty, the Winwell shin pad with this extra protection for your knee. It's the lightest in equipment with the ultimate in protection. Hey, you gotta be able to move out there. It's hockey equipment for hockey players by a guy who played the game. Winwell, it's beauty.
Elvis Stojko gives his all. No holds barred. Nothing held back. Just full out with everything he's got. Like McCain Frozen Punch goes full out with thirst-quenching flavors like grape, orange, and fruit punch. McCain Frozen Punch delivers the real fruit taste of real fruit juice every time. For champions like Elvis. When you want it all, go for the real taste of McCain Frozen Punch.
McCain, full out taste every time.
Up Close is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL.
Now Vargas on first down. Swinging over the middle. Stiegel, gone. Touchdown, Winnipeg.
You know, it's a good feeling coming back here and coming back to some place where you really want it. You know, as human beings, we always want to feel wanted. And since I've been back up here, you know, it's not too many, I don't have too many teammates from last year, but the guys who've been here, you know, they've been expressing, you know, it's good to have you back. The fans are, you know, excited, and the coaches are excited. You know, we haven't won too many games, but I'm just excited about being back in Winnipeg, and hopefully, you know, we'll get out there and do our thing and win some games. Me being a go-to guy last year, you kind of look for things to go your way, you know, right away, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. I'm still trying to fill out the offense. There's a couple of different things that they're doing this year, and, you know, we have some pretty good receivers on the team already, so, I mean, me being a go-to guy, that's not a main concern. I just want to go out there and contribute and help this team win because we only have one victory. If I can go out there and catch some big plays and, you know, make some touchdowns, of course, you know, we all want to be in the spotlight, you know, to some degree. We're all human. But my main concern now is just going out there and helping this team win.
Up Close is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL.
And if the Bombers are going to salvage anything from this season, they desperately need a lot of help from Milt Stiegel. Now, Friday Night Football is only the beginning of the weekend in the CFL season. 3 games still ahead after this one. Let's set them up for you. CBC has Toronto and Edmonton tomorrow night. The other game tomorrow night, the Ticats visiting the Lions in BC. And yes, we've got the rematch of the Calgary-Saskatchewan game Sunday afternoon. It is a huge one for the Riders, and here are their thoughts on that game.
I feel like I'm, you know, mid-90s right now. This week I felt good in practice, felt a little better each day. That's really what I was looking for. You know, didn't have any setbacks after practice. You know, I'd come out here and run around and, you know, run hard on it and do all my normal work, and it seemed to go well. So, you know, obviously the contact factor will be a little different, but, you know, that's something that I feel I'm ready for. When you add Mike to that mix, and you already have pretty good receiving core with Narcisse and Mayfield and Farthing and Thompson, I think we have a ability to make plays with several different people, and I think that is, when we've been sharp in regard to having the best healthy roster on the field, our guys have done a good job.
Jim Daly remaining optimistic, but his team 0-3 against Calgary this season. They did take them to overtime in that first game, but they really haven't come close since, Eric.
No, they haven't. And, you know, they've struggled on the defensive side of the ball. You know, going into the game this weekend, you just have to look at Calgary and say, this is a complete football team. They have a confidence, a swagger, if you will. In fact, they remind me a great deal of our team last year at Toronto. They believe if they go out and play to the best of their ability, to their fullest potential, they're going to win regardless of the competition.
You still have a swagger, by the way. Now, we've been saying this for a few weeks, but if Saskatchewan loses, could this be it for Jim Daly and or Al Ford?
Well, I hope not. I don't think, though, this game is going to be based on whether they win or lose. I think it's going to be based on how they play. Jim Daly certainly has been under an awful lot of duress. He's a great guy, but this is a football team that started 2-1 and has now lost 8 of the last 9 football games. And the Winnipeg loss a couple weeks ago certainly didn't help James.
All right, let's quickly look at the other 2 games. Edmonton and Toronto, a pair of 7-5 teams, so it looks even in the standings. What do you see there?
A close game. As you said, they're both 7-5. I see a very good football team to be determined by turnovers and special teams. Historically, special teams have been a trademark of Don Matthews' teams. But this year, Edmonton is playing very well on that side of the ball. In fact, Sean Fleming is 23 of 26 in the field goal department, so he could be the difference.
Hamilton, BC, probably the 2 surprises of the league. Hamilton, the good surprise. BC, the bad surprise. The Lions have played a little bit better lately under Greg Mons, but still no victories to show for it.
Well, they haven't won, you're right, but they have played very well the last 2 weeks. And if there's a good time to play the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I'm not sure there is, it may be right now. Like Montreal, Hamilton had a very physical game last week, 70 minutes. I mean, it was a game that went down to the very last play, and they've had to travel across 3 time zones, too. So, again, if there's a good time to play Hamilton, it's now, and BC has a real opportunity.
All right, should be a good weekend. Now that we have glimpsed into the future, let's look back at the past with our Friday Night Flashback.
Friday Night Flashback.
On September 12, 1997, the Montreal Alouettes hosted the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at Olympic Stadium. And it was the Alouettes that struck first, with Marvin Graves running this touchdown in from 7 yards out. But back came the Bombers. QB Chris Vargas found Milt Stiegel with a 105-yard TD reception. It was the longest pass reception of the season in the CFL. Winnipeg led by 3 at the half. The seesaw battle continued in the second half. Montreal's Milt Coleman caught this Graves pass for a 27-yard TD. But the game wasn't decided until late in the fourth, and Winnipeg threatening. But Tom Europe will pick Vargas's pass off and kill any hopes for a Bomber victory. Dave Ritchie's Alouettes win a nail-biter 29-28 on Friday Night Football from Montreal.
Friday Night Flashback.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win, and you could win $1 million or a 27-inch Zenith color television. A Business Navigator personal organizer from Casio, the Minolta Dimage Pick digital camera, Corning's Revere Pro Line cookware, or win a vacation trip for 2 to the Villas Vallarta Hotel via Air Transat, courtesy of World of Vacations, Canada's #1 tour operator to the sun. Look for post-shredded wheat or Shreddies, Ariba tortilla thins. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
Hey, you know, there's always one guy that's the last guy off the ice, And that's the kind of guy I designed my equipment for. Made by Winwell, and it's called Don Cherry's Original Series. The Winwell glove, my elbow pads, and my specialty, the Winwell shin pad with this extra protection for your knee. It's the lightest in equipment with the ultimate in protection. Hey, you gotta be able to move out there. It's hockey equipment for hockey players by a guy who played the game. Winwell, it's beauty.
Centuries ago, the humble potato was praised for its nutrition and worshipped for its delicious taste. Discover the new golden standard that's making modern history. Introducing McCain Home Fries. All the deep fried flavor of your favorite fry. Crispy outside, moist potato flavor inside. Crispy McCain Home Fries. They could change history. Taste it and believe it.
All right, let's have a look at that other Canadian Football League, CIAU football. UBC is still on top of our top 10 rankings. A couple of notes, Laval jumps all the way to 6th. They weren't even ranked last week. In fact, 3 new teams in our top 10. And our key matchup of the weekend, the number 7th ranked Bishop Gators go to Lansdowne Park, Frank Clair Stadium to visit the Ottawa GGs. Now, the Globe and Mail's Marty York always likes to get the scoop on everybody. I guess that's why he's picking the CFL award winners in Week 13. Here's Marty's inside stuff on the CFL.
At Large with Marty York.
Well, we're 3/4 of the way through a relatively smooth season by CFL standards, so it's a good time to start focusing on the outstanding player categories. Now, don't forget that it's the Football Reporters of Canada who end up with the final say on these matters. But I wondered how coaches and veteran players in the league were viewing things, and so I conducted a bit of an informal poll this week. And here's the consensus. The most outstanding player in the Western Division is easily Calgary quarterback Jeff Garcia, who has led the Stamps with tenacity and the kind of courage that made Matt Dunnigan so well respected. Garcia leads the league with 18 touchdown passes and is also 9th in rushing. In the East, it's a bit of a toss-up. Most of the coaches and players I talked to favor Montreal's Mike Pringle, who might surpass the 2,000-yard mark in rushing. But Hamilton quarterback Danny McManus and Toronto receiver Darryl Mitchell also are in the running. McManus has led the Ticats to lofty heights in a remarkable turnaround season for Hamilton, while Mitchell is on pace to shatter the CFL's single-season record for receptions. In the outstanding Canadian category, Calgary receiver Vince Danielson seems to be a shoo-in. He's caught 70 passes for 817 yards and 5 touchdowns so far, and the only other Western names being mentioned are BC's Dave Chaters and Edmonton's Don Blair. Now, the knock on Blair is that he loses concentration at times and runs wrong patterns, which sources tell me is why Edmonton quarterback David Archer let him have it in a heated flare-up during a game in BC last week. Eastern candidates for top Canadian are receiver Mike Morreale of Hamilton and Toronto linebacker Kelly Wiltshire. Mike O'Shea, Wiltshire's fellow linebacker with the Argos, also will get his share of attention in this category, as he always does. But the truth is that Wiltshire has outplayed O'Shea. Wiltshire has 14 more tackles and is considerably more athletic than O'Shea. Okay, let's look at the top defensive players, and you have to start with the perennial winner of this category, Edmonton linebacker Willie Pless, leading the league once again with 74 tackles. But the man commanding most of the attention for outstanding defensive player is easily Hamilton's Joe Monford, having a career year and leading the league with 16 sacks. And don't discount Edmonton's Malvin Hunter in the West. He has 13 sacks. Now, this hasn't been a very good year for rookies in the CFL, but one is clearly standing out and should breeze to Rookie of the Year honors. He is Baron Miles, a 26-year-old speedster out of Nebraska who has started every game at defensive back for the Alouettes and is 3rd in the league in tackles with 57, behind only the aforementioned Willie Pless and Hamilton's Calvin Tiggle. Representing the West as top rookie will be Edmonton running back C.J. Williams or Calgary receiver Aubrey Cummings, neither of whom have a chance to beat out Miles. As for the outstanding lineman category, I never really watch line play, but I'm told by the coaches and players that Fred Childress of Calgary is easily the best in the league this season. And representing the East will be either Carl Coulter, the center for Hamilton, or Montreal's Uzuma Okiki. And Coach of the Year, Ron Lancaster of Hamilton is the favorite right now. But don't forget Wally Buono, who has the best winning percentage among CFL coaches and really deserves more credit than he gets. For Adidas Friday Night Football, I'm Marty York. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye, Marty. And we would never give Marty the last word. God forbid we give Marty the last word. So we have to let Mr. Tillman put his 2 cents worth in. Here are Eric's picks for all those awards that Marty talked about. And Eric, we'll let you run down and give your quick reasoning.
Well, for a Canadian of the Year, it was a tough choice, but I think you've got to go with Vince Danielson, 70 catches. Joe Montford, that's easy. Same thing with Fred Childers. He's just been dominating. They flopped him all year to the field, and he's just at a different level. I agree with Marty as far as Baron Miles at Montreal. He's playing defensive halfback, which is such a tough position. Ron Lancaster has done an outstanding job. MVP, tough call, but I'm going with Danny Mac.
All right, the only one I would question a bit, with no offense to Danny Mac, is the selection of Danny Mac. Why do you overlook Pringle, who we talk about going for the record tonight, and Daryl Mitchell, two guys on pace to break all-time CFL records?
You're asking the same question that I asked myself all afternoon when I was trying to figure out how to answer this one. You know, Daryl Mitchell obviously is having a tremendous year and is on pace to break every receiving record in the league, or the most significant one. That's number of catches, and he's a critical part of the Toronto offense. And the same thing for Mike Pringle. I mean, my gosh, the guy sitting there, he's got a chance to rush for 2,000 yards. You can make a great argument, James, for both of them. But Danny Mac, the bottom line, this team last year was 2-16. They're poised to win the East. At the end of the day, it's about winning and losing, and I think Danny Mac has been the difference.
Now, the top Canadian is quite often a kind of obvious award, but not this year. There's an awful lot of guys to choose from.
It's the same thing. You know, it says something about the caliber of talent in this league. I mean, you can make an argument for Blair. You can make an argument for Morielli. Chaders and Peterson have been just great in the defensive line. There's so many different ways you could go. I even thought about Wiltshire and O'Shea. So, I didn't want to get Schulte upset, but I thought about a kicker a little bit, Sean Flintley, but I didn't want him to pass out.
Now, you've mentioned Ronnie Lancaster. Do you agree with Marty at all, and Marty's sources, that perhaps Wally Buono has a chance at this at all?
Well, there's a lot of football left to be played, and a lot of things can happen. Wally's teams are consistently good, and sometimes you overlook the guys that are successful. Dave Ritchie's done a pretty good job in Montreal as well. But when you start talking about a team that was 2-16 and is poised to win the East and possibly could win the Grey Cup, I think you got to go with Ron.
All right, and Joe Montfort, runaway?
Oh, no doubt. He's a great football player. Changes every game. He's an offensive lineman's nightmare. He's quick, he's strong, he has great change of direction. And the other 7 coaches in the league, they wish they had Joe Montfort.
I hesitate to pick a guy runaway because you're going to upset a lot of other guys that are big guys out there, and the next time they see you, they might not be too happy. The other Canadian, I like Ben Cahoon, who hasn't really emerged till last week, but 2 big TDs last week. And Tracy Ham says he may have the best hands for a receiver that he has ever seen. But it's not Tracy Ham tonight. It's Anthony Cavillo who will be looking for Ben Cahoon as the Owls try to take the Bombers. We'll be back.
Introducing new McCain Golden Crisp Waffles, made waffle iron thick to stay fluffy on the inside while toasting up golden and crisp on the outside. Treat yourself to the real waffle iron taste of new McCain Golden Crisp Waffles. Waffle iron thick to toast up light and crispy every time.
The greatest show on turf will blow you away this summer. See the lions, ferocious tiger cats, performing horses, and the one and only human pinball. CFL 1998. It's the greatest show on turf, radically Canadian, and radically affordable. For Toronto Argo ticket info, call toll-free 1-888-654-6529.
Sunday on Discovery Channel. Many of those who sail her compare the northern sea to a harsh mistress, quick to anger, unforgiving, and even cruel. Yet her mystery and her stunning beauty can capture a heart and keep it forever. Gaze into the mesmerizing face of the North on Forbidden Places, Sunday on Discovery Channel.
Welcome to Green Bay, Wisconsin. How many Packer fans do we have out here?
I'm Anthony Schulneber, and I give tours here at Lambeau Field.
Here it is, folks. Lambeau Field, also known as the frozen tundra.
There's no word to explain what it's like to walk on the grass or to feel the grass there. You know you're in Packer country right there. You have Brett Favre, who scores touchdowns, and Reggie White, who sacks the quarterback. This is it. This is the frozen tundra. This is where it all happens.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN. Tonight, the Alouettes and the Blue Bombers from Winnipeg Stadium in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Hey everybody, welcome to the weekend and welcome to Adidas Friday Night Football. If you're just joining us, it's just myself and Eric tonight. Schultze has embarked on a modeling career. Now, he is in the booth tonight. He'll be doing the color on the game. The Bombers, well, like every week, they need this one badly. What do they have to do, Eric, to do it?
Well, I think when you're struggling on offense, James, the key is to play on a short field. They've got a young quarterback. How do you play on a short field? You play good defense, and you do a nice job with special teams. Eric Blunt could be a real key. I don't think you can put too much on Troy Kopp. For Winnipeg to win tonight, I think their offensive line has to take over at the line of scrimmage. Chris Perez, Hendrickson, the big guys, have to knock Montreal off the ball. Montreal still has some injuries up front, and as I said earlier, they're playing 2 games in 5 days. They're going to win the game with special teams, defense, and at the line of scrimmage.
Now, what about this Troy Kopp? A couple of weeks ago, we saw the good Kopp. Last week, we saw the bad Kopp. Can this kid play or not?
Oh, I think he has potential. I think last week the reason you saw the bad Kopp was because of what Toronto did defensively. They showed him a lot of different looks, had him confused. Dave Ritchie's a good football coach, just like Don Matthews. They'll show him a lot of that tonight. Again, I think you have to simplify on offense. Go back to your bread and butter. Bring Sean Millington in the fold. Get him the football. Knock him off the ball. Don't make mistakes. Keep the game close and try to find a way to win in the fourth quarter.
Now, a lot of people have forgotten on opening day, the Bombers gave the Owls a pretty good shot. In fact, they almost won that game, and the season sort of went downhill from there, but they'll have a big crowd in Winnipeg again tonight, and that should help.
Yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? I mean, Winnipeg's sitting here 1-10, 1-11, and they're expecting a crowd of close to 25,000 tonight. That's a real credit to the football fans, and it represents what's right in the Canadian Football League. The crowd was a factor a few weeks ago when they beat Saskatchewan in the end. If they stay in the game tonight, that crowd could be the 13th man in the fourth quarter.
Yes, they are a 1-11 team, but the crowd does not show it. They are coming out tonight, and they are ready. The Bombers and the Owls coming up from Winnipeg. Kickoff is next.
We've got a history, a way of making memories, a place you wanna be. Oh, tonight, it's never been more bright. You see the world in a different light. Alright, I'll see you tonight.
Hey, just finished staining the gazebo.
Great. What'd you use, redwood or cedar?
Well,
At Home Hardware, there's no need to limit yourself.
so this stain comes in lots of colors.
How many? Wood Shield exterior stain from Home Hardware comes in more than 1,000 colors. All backed by our no-quibble guarantee.
1,000? How did you decide?
Well, Home Hardware
Cool. What about the fence?
helps us close to home.
I'm Gordon Cheeseborough, and I'm the president and CEO of Altamira. I'm on a hockey team, on a squash team, on a family team. At the end of the day, virtually everything I do is part of a team, and I guess the biggest team I'm on is the Altamira team. There's so much information. There's so many ideas out there that I would want to know that I had a great team looking at all those ideas. Because when it comes to trusting people with your investments, we want a lot of brain power working for you. It's a great time to be with Altamira.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL. and by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks and good friends, see you tonight.
Live from Winnipeg Stadium, TSN presents Friday Night Football. The Montreal Alouettes, who missed out on a chance to move into a tie for first place last week in the CFL's East Division, taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. On a beautiful night in southern Manitoba, the temperature 15 degrees Celsius, the wind coming from the northeast at 13 kilometers an hour, not much of a factor, and the artificial turf here is dry. Dave Ritchie's team is coming off a tie, but it feels like a loss. They were down 17 points in the fourth quarter last week. Had a chance to win it, but missed the field goal in the final play of overtime. Ritchie was the defensive coordinator for the Bombers in 1990, and in 1991, of course, 1990 was a Grey Cup year here in Winnipeg. And on the other side is the director of football operations, head coach, defensive coordinator, former offensive coordinator Jeff Reinbold, whose Winnipeg Blue Bombers have yet to beat an Eastern Division team. They are 0-6 against their division mates.
And you know, Gordy really made a good point. He has all those responsibilities. I really think one of his problems as the season progressed, he's never been able to solidify his coaching staff. He lost his secondary coach early in the season. He's had different offensive coordinators. He's accepted too much responsibility with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And we mentioned that for the Montreal Alouettes, a bitterly disappointing tie last week. Yes. The Alouettes really felt they should have won that game. In fact, some think they did win the game on Terry Baker's last-minute field goal. He, of course, is out there to kick things off for the Montreal Alouettes. He argued the field goal was good. The officials, however, disagree. Dylan McCullough on the left. Eric Blunt, the CFL's leading return man, on the right, is back deep to receive. And we are underway in the Grey Cup City. This is Eric Blunt from the 7-yard line. Right out across the 30 and brought down at the 35-yard line. A 28-yard return. The stop was made there by Bruce Dixon. The Winnipeg Blue Bomber offense has lots of new faces. Of course, quarterback Troy Kopp playing in his third game. To Buck Stiegel, Mitch Running, and Koto Cotton are the new men in the receiving corps. And this is the offensive line that has allowed 30 sacks this year, third best in the Canadian Football League. 27-year-old Troy Kopp at the control. And play action on first down. Kopp's up and throwing, and it is over the head of Koto Cotton and incomplete. This Montreal Alouette defense has a couple of changes of note. Up front, Tom Hips returns to the lineup. Steve Charbonneau will be a backup there. Clark, Reed, and Gravely are the linebackers. And the secondary has two of the best on the corner, Irv Smith and Doug Kraft, with Tom Europe, one of the hardest-hitting safeties in the game, playing in the middle. And there is Alfred Payton with 13 sacks on the year. He is tied for second in the league with Melvin Hunter, trailing the league leader, Joe Montford of Hamilton. On second down, caught, up and throwing again, and once again the pass is incomplete. He was looking there for Spencer McLennan. 2 and out again for Winnipeg, Chris.
2 and out for Winnipeg, and that's the worst case scenario for them early in the game. I think the key for Troy Kopp tonight is he has to know the difference between making an individual play and taking what the defense gives him. Defenses always have certain seams, certain areas, especially in a short passing game, that are open. Kopp has to be patient. He has to look for those nickel and dime plays to develop his confidence. Don't do two things athletically difficult early, as you saw with the 2 sprint out passes.
So a frustrated Kopp goes to the sidelines, and Bob Cameron comes on to punt. And no one has punted more than the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 1998. Flags fly, and the whistle goes before the ball is kicked away. 2 things you don't want to lead the league in: punting yards and kickoff return yards. Winnipeg leads in both. When you're getting a lot of kickoffs, you're in deep trouble. Procedure is the call against Winnipeg's number 25, Sean Millington. So back to the 30 they go, where Cameron will kick it away again.
And there's 2 points about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You mentioned the penalties, and the other one being this is not a good second half team. They have to get up on the Montreal Alouettes to have success early.
Hands off, hands off, hands off.
And with their hands off on the return, here comes Thomas Haskins. Haskins gets out to the 41-yard line. A 5-yard return of a 42-yard Bob Cameron kick. Tracy Ham is injured this week. He was shaken up in the tie last week with Hamilton. And so Anthony Calvillo comes out to lead this Montreal Alouette offense with the league's leading running back, Mike Pringle, who leads by a mile. Cahoon, Armstrong, Haskins, and Cody are the receivers. Cody's back in after sitting out last week. And this is the offensive line with the big man, Mike Sutherland, in the middle, and the bigger man, Neil Ford, playing right tackle. Souls and Pringle in the eye. And this is Souls on first down, and Pringle busts his way out to the 45-yard line, a pickup of 4 yards against this Winnipeg defense that has allowed the most yards passing, most touchdowns per pass, and the highest completion percentage. It is Rogers, Waugh, and Fleming up front with Lisi, Hawking, Maeva, and Carter. Grant Carter, the former Montreal Alouette in the linebacking core. And take a look at Antonio Banks, number 2, just up from the Minnesota Vikings camp, who will play the wide field corner all alone on the island in his first CFL game. Second down, 6. Calvillo facing the blitz. Trying to get away. He will not. David Maeva gets there for the sack. And it is the Montreal Alouettes who will be forced to punt.
Well, Anthony Calvillo, really, this is an opportunity for him to kind of solidify his position as an incumbent quarterback. He's going to have an opportunity next year to be the starter because we really don't know how long Tracy Ham's going to play. He has to maintain his poise, try to find the open receiver, and just move in little spots in the pocket to kind of make that first guy miss, buy that extra second, get that first down.
Terry Baker is back to punt. Eric Blunt is back deep to receive. The rush is on. Baker gets a low returnable kick away to Blunt at the 24-yard line. Here comes Blunt. Up the middle he goes. Blunt trying to get around the corner. Stephon Reed just got a hand on him. No score in the first quarter on Friday Night Football from Winnipeg.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you could win $1 million if 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns in today's game. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway. Today's better way.
I can see clearly now.
There may come a time when the most important question is, where do I go from here? At Royal Sun Alliance Insurance, we've been helping Canadians get ahead with forward thinking for longer than Canadians have been driving. Call for a Royal Sun Alliance broker near you.
The Fall Wood Pro sale from Stihl. Save right now on selected Stihl chainsaws starting at just $299.95 and get a Wood Pro kit valued at over $75 absolutely free. Stihl, built to last, priced to sell.
Now the most trusted name in winter boots goes to work. Made to take whatever the work could dish out. Sorel protects you better, lasts longer, and feels more comfortable. Get Sorel working for you, whether you're kicking in or just kicking back. Sorel, rugged, Canadian, original.
This season hasn't exactly been overflowing with good news for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but the return of Milt Stegall to the lineup certainly qualifies. Held without a catch last week in the loss to Toronto. Chris, he was unquestionably the most dangerous receiver in the league last year.
Well, he really was, and what makes him so nice is not just his speed, his understanding of the game, and you combine him with Mitch Running, who's a possession receiver. You can use them in different ways. It's important to have different types of receivers on your offensive team.
Bombers started their 38-yard line, and the toss goes to Dylan McCullough, and McCullough goes around the corner up to the 42-yard line. Dylan McCullough in his first year out of Miami of Ohio, taking the place of fullback Sean Millington. And you talk about disappointments for Winnipeg. The loss of Sean Millington for most of the year has been part of it, and McCullough trying to fill the shoes of a 2-time CFL All-Star. Picked up 4 on the play, 2nd and 6 from the Winnipeg 42-yard line. Cobb, lots of time, firing it over the middle, and it is complete to Stegall. who just took that away from linebacker Brian Clark. A first down across midfield for the Montreal 53, a pickup of 15.
And when you talk about Milt Stegall, the fact is that he's the type of football player right now that's going to make the majority of your big plays. Excuse me, right there in the slot. And he's the type, you must get him into the game early and often, but what they did an excellent job is picking up the blitz. They're already trying to pressure Troy Kopp into mistakes.
15-yard pickup and a first down for the Bombers. Right through the middle they go. Dylan McCullough gets inside the 50 and down to the 49-yard line, a pickup of 5 yards.
Well, I think when you talk about Milt Stegall, the thing he does so well is there's nothing really structured about his abilities, in the sense that if he gets the ball in open space, he has the speed to turn a little pass, a hitch pass, a quick slant into an 80-yard touchdown. And you have to have that element in your football team. You have to have the ability to go the entire length of the field, because that is what influences the free safety in his play. He is always aware of the most dangerous player. For Winnipeg, that's Milt Stegall.
From the shotgun, flags are down, and Kopp gets it out there to Cotto Cotton, and he is buried immediately by Doug Kraft, a gain of 5, which would leave them a yard short of a first down, and the penalty is against Montreal. So it was a free play for Winnipeg. It'll be second and a yard as referee Bud Steen oversees the proceedings.
Well, that's the best opportunity right now to have a second and a yard, second and 4. It opens up your entire package in terms of the plays that you can call. There's a huge difference between the 2nd and 10, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. The 2nd and 10 is when everybody will pressure quarterback into mistakes. The 2nd and 5, they have to respect the run. They have to respect the shorter passing game.
See Troy Kopp looking for the signals. Winnipeg has used 4 different starting quarterbacks this season in 12 games.
And about 2 or 3 different offensive coordinators.
Second down and short. This is McCullough, and McCullough is hit by Edward Thomas, and that helped him get the first down for a pickup of 3.
But what Brent McCullough is doing right now is he's taking the place of a Sean Millington. When the Bombers lost Sean Millington, when he had trouble recovering from the foot injury, they lost their power back. It was just as if Montreal had lost Mike Pringle. They wanted Millington to be the guy to get the 3 or 4 yards to set up the first down. He's not there. They want McCullough to be that type of player.
Eric Blunt on the sidelines on 1st and 10 for the Bombers. Kopp gives it off to Dylan McCullough. Again, he loses the football. And it is a Montreal fumble recovery as the ball is scooped up by Baron Miles. And a turnover by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who have given the ball up more than any team in the league this year.
Well, when you talk about this play, you have three phases in running. You have the point of attack, the play side, and the backside. This is a backside effort by Peterson. He comes from behind. Somebody should have either cut him on the backside or seal blocked him on the backside. Probably a mental error, because the backside catches up to the front side based on the quickness of that defensive athlete.
And the fact is, the ball is now on the other side.
Right.
Here's Mike Pringle. Pringle runs into Maeva and buries his head down for a few more yards. Pickup of 6 yards for Mike Pringle, the runaway leader in the Canadian Football League in rushing. In fact, he leads the number 2 rusher in the league by 590 yards. That's Kelvin Anderson.
The only way you can defend a Mike Pringle is to get his shoulders turned towards the sidelines. When he squares his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage, that's when he's at its best. That's when he can truly accelerate into the seam.
Mike Pringle with 8 straight 100-yard games. If he has another one tonight, that's a new CFL record. Second down, back to Pringle. And Pringle that time got hit high by Doug Hocking. Pringle gets right to midfield. It'll bring up 3rd and a yard for Montreal.
Gordon, never amazes me on this young man is how many heavy hits he takes. He's a physical running back. And that type of punishment over time, you would really think would slow Mike Pringle down, but it doesn't. You know what it does? It gets him into the game even more. It gets his adrenaline going. It gets his whole system fired up to be a bigger part of the offense. He's amazing that way.
Montreal will gamble on 3rd down. Calvillo will take it straight ahead, and Calvillo will have the first down as he crosses midfield and gets down to the 53. The first down of the football game for the Montreal Alouettes.
Anthony Calvillo is very similar to Kerwin Bell in that he isn't the most mobile quarterback, but he will set in the pocket for the longest possible time, using every pocket protection second to get the receiver open and find the seam and complete the pass. He's a good quarterback. He's close to being a great one. He needs a good game to enhance his career.
Been around 5 years, and he's only 26 years of age. Play action pass. Calvillo stands in over the middle. He was looking for Ben Cahoon, and the pass is knocked away by Antonio Banks, the new corner who sees his first action, and it's incomplete.
Well, we talk about Antonio Banks. He really is the only corner. He's the one corner to the field side. Now, the corner to the field side has an advantage because the football ends up having more air under it, and you have a quicker time to react and hopefully make the pick. The corner to the other side, Hamilton, on the short side, has to defend a faster type of pass. We'll see how Banks does as the game progresses.
Talking to Rod Russ, the Montreal defensive coordinator for the game, says we don't even defend the 6 or 8 yards on the sideline to the wide side of the field. Second down, Calvillo sets up the screen for Pringle. He's got a convoy in front of him, but Pringle is wrapped up by Doug Hawking. Great job by the Bombers to fight through the blocks and stop Mike Pringle up short.
And this type of pass, this screen pass, you should run once a quarter, especially against a team like Winnipeg that lives and dies by the blitz, because if the linebackers come and the safety comes and you read that and you get that running back in open space, that's a 15 to 20-yard gain. It may not have gotten a first down for Montreal, but they will go back to it consistently because it's something that you can create a big play from if you time it right based on their pressure.
Terry Baker back to punt once more. Eric Blunt is back to receive. Still no score. Halfway through the opening quarter, Baker wants to take off, and he will. There's no one home. Baker stops now, and he just got it. John Kalin almost had him stuck behind the first down marker as Baker hesitated and was almost lost.
Well, I tell you, that's a gutty play by Baker, especially this early in the game, going against a team that needs momentum, and they desperately need field position. But obviously, it was a premeditated thought in his mind that if he saw a seam, if he saw an opening on the left-hand side, he was going to take it. What makes that play great is now the punt return for Winnipeg. Next time Montreal punts, they're aware of that. They can't necessarily pressure as much as they want to.
Montreal really can run the ball. Terry Baker's got 3 carries this year for 30 yards. Pretty good average. He's got a better average than Mike Pringle. Yeah. On first down, they give it out to the fullback, Michael Souls. And Souls, who normally blocks for Mike Pringle, gets down inside the 35 to the 34-yard line.
Gordy, as much as we talk about Mike Pringle, we do have to talk about Michael Souls, a very unselfish player, probably the best point-of-attack fullback in the league, constantly takes on the linebackers on a one-on-one situation, and that's a tough block because the linebackers can go right, left, or try to hit him straight up. Mike Souls is a good fullback in the league.
Souls has scored 8 touchdowns in 3 consecutive years, had just 1 last year, and has only 3 this season. And now Pringle runs into all kinds of trouble, and it's led by Wesley Lisi. The Bombers were saying before this game, Chris, that they really felt they held Mike Pringle down in the first meeting, except for 2 runs that Pringle really hurt them on.
That's true, and both of those runs came later in the game, and that's the strength of Mike Pringle. For whatever reason, as a good conditioned athlete, his best football is in the second half, but what they did extremely well in that sense is you play a gap cancellation. Everybody takes care of their assignment. Everybody takes care of their responsibility. Then you have a shot of stopping Pringle.
Well, now, the last time we saw Terry Baker in this formation, it was to win the game. In the final play of overtime last week, he'll try a 43-yarder. Low snap. Baker puts it up. And this time, there's no doubt, it is good. And the Montreal Alouettes, on the fake punt by Baker, have the first points on a field goal from their kicker. 3-0 Montreal lead.
Drive into a Travelodge location for free in-room coffee, free lobby newspaper, and a great room at a great rate. Call 1-800-578-7878 now for Travelodge.
magazine says Ronin is a sly masterpiece.
Get out of here. Walk away.
The real deal in action fireworks, raves Rolling Stone, Robert De Niro. I won't hurt you. Ronin, now playing.
Hey, you know, there's always one guy that's the last guy off the ice, and that's the kind of guy I designed my equipment for. Made by Winwell, and it's called Don Cherry's Original Series. The Winwell glove, my elbow pads, and my specialty, the Winwell shin pad with this extra protection for your knee. It's the lightest in equipment with the ultimate in protection. Hey, you gotta be able to move out there. It's hockey equipment for hockey players by a guy who played the game. Winwell, it's beauty.
The Luxembourg Grand Prix. See it, live it, TSN.
Terry Baker, one of the good guys in the Canadian Football League, always willing to talk in good times or bad times. And last week it was bad times when he tried this field goal from 36 yards out that would have won the game on the final play of overtime.
And actually, Dave Ritchie was really criticized that they didn't punt the football in, but you have to have faith in your kicker, because if anything else, it's a confidence issue. You look at him on the sidelines and you say, yes, I know you can make that. So it was a good opportunity, tight football game.
Baker now sends it deep. The ball bounces down to Dylan McCullough at the 15-yard line. Here comes McCullough out across the 40 before he is finally stopped by Bruno Heppel. A 26-yard kickoff return for Dylan McCullough, who's been a busy man, as we get another look at Winnipeg quarterback Troy Comp. And it's interesting to note we've been mentioning Dylan McCullough's name a lot, but Eric Blunt has not been a big part of the offense, although he is back out there now for this series.
Well, Eric Blunt's biggest contribution to Winnipeg has been on the punt return and the kickoff return, but it surprises me that he can't get involved more in the system of offense that they run, because he is multi-purpose.
Bombers from the 41. Play action again. Copp steps up. Wide open. Spencer McClellan dropped the pass. Spencer McClellan was wide open. Copp put it right in the money, and the fans are all over Spencer McClellan.
Well, when you look at Troy Copp there, you did everything right. He faked very efficiently in the game. He brought the linebackers up to the line of scrimmage. He had Spencer McClellan wide open. You have to catch the football. This will go down as an incompletion for Copp, but not necessarily in the sense that this isn't his fault. He can't control this. Wide open, put in the right spot, right in the chest. He's got to get that football and head downfield.
2nd and 10, and McClellan still shaking his head. And now Copp to the shotgun. Copp once again tipped up in the air by Stiegel, and he was battling there with Douglas Kraft. The pass falls incomplete.
Well, nice throw by Copp, and he has a little bit of an advantage in the sense that Montreal doesn't play a pressure defense. That is not their normal defense. It's the type that's going to bend and break, and you're going to have scenes, and you could have more time. When they bring their linebackers or pressure, it'll be maybe in a 2nd and 10. This is easier for Copp to go against the Montreal defense that doesn't try to bring linebackers, try to end the game early. They'll sit back and wait.
Bob Cameron once again back to punt. Matt Cody to receive along with Thomas Haskins. Cameron booms it into the wind. And it's taken by Haskins at the 25. And Haskins gets up to the 36-yard line. He's brought down by Wade Miller. 3-0 Montreal leads on Adidas. Friday Night Football on TSN.
Potholes, alignment killers.
My car starts shaking, it's time for an alignment.
I hate that shimmying thing.
For $44.95, you can get a honkin' boutonniere or a Midas alignment special.
You get a computerized wheel alignment,
rotate and balance all 4 tires,
and a free written brake inspection.
A bad alignment can really chew up your tires. This is merely a dramatization.
The mind, the body, and the car should all be aligned as one.
$44.95 for an alignment? That's a special occasion.
In a recent national survey, most Canadians said they plan to retire by age 60. The majority even knew how much they'd have to save to enjoy a comfortable retirement. But sadly, more than 30% said they couldn't put enough money aside. The solution is to start retirement planning early, and Canada's banks can help. Call the number on your screen and get our free booklet, Planning for Retirement, because a secure retirement is important to Canadians, and we understand that.
Now the most trusted name in winter boots goes to work. Made to take whatever the work could dish out. Sorel protects you better, lasts longer, and feels more comfortable. Get Sorel working for you, whether you're kicking in or just kicking back. Sorel, rugged, Canadian, original.
Jeff Reinbold's getting used to bad news, and there's more on the field as Brad Elberg is down on that punt cover. What happened, Chris?
Well, here's Brad Elberg. He goes down, he covers the punt, and this is one of those situations where you really wonder whether it's an AstroTurf issue or whether it's a situation where he just gets clipped from behind. But as he comes down, he squeezes to the plate, and then he takes the shot, and you see his legs just freeze underneath him. He has no give in his feet, and that's a complaint by a lot of people in football, that the turf is so sticky, it's so good, it creates problems.
Elberg giving it to the Montreal bench. He felt he was clipped, and of course, you're speaking from experience. How many operations?
I've had about 8. 8 good ones.
Calvillo on first down is up and throwing, and he's got Chris Armstrong, the former Bomber, up to the 23-yard line. Chris Armstrong glad to be back in Montreal and glad to show Winnipeg that maybe they made a mistake after a gain of 8.
Well, Chris Armstrong is the Montreal Alouettes' best receiver, and he really, in terms of play action passes, he really takes the advantage of the efficiency of Pringle in the sense that when they run the ball, that allows the safeties and more man coverage for Chris Armstrong. He's really turned it around since he's been with the Alouettes.
After what it was like in Winnipeg, he said, I don't want to talk about it.
Good response.
Back to the ground, Pringle runs into David Maeva again, and Maeva is going to have a 27 tattooed on him as he once again collides with Mike Pringle, who comes up about a yard short of a first down.
Gord, the two players that do have a lot of pressure on them are David Maeva and Doug Hawking, because they have to tackle. This is an excellent tackle on Pringle. He doesn't get a lot of second effort yards. They keep him without the first down. They have to do that play after play after play into the fourth quarter.
David Maeva, one of 11 former BC Lions playing for Winnipeg, and Dave Ritchie saw third and a yard and decided not to go for it this time. He'll send out Terry Baker to punt. The ball is at the Montreal 25-yard line, so a chance for great field position for Winnipeg. Baker gets a good high kick away, sending Blunt back to his 35. And Stephon Reed wraps him up, limiting the return to 3 after a 50-yard punt by Terry Baker. Well, Jeff Reinbold looking on. His team does have a playoff hope of somehow sneaking in, but these are the keys.
Well, number one, they do have to tackle Pringle. His ability to take the games over in the second half is evident and obvious. They get the ball to Milsteagel, you never know what's going to happen. 26.5 yards per catch is absolutely amazing, and they must maintain the confidence of Troy Kopp. You have to block the blitz, get him out in terms of sprinting away from it, but do the little things really well, complete short passes, then long ones.
2 of Winnipeg's 3 possessions in this football game have been 2 and outs. On first down, back to the ground they go, and Dylan McCullough bursts his way across the 40 out to the 44-yard line, a pickup of 7 yards.
Well, this actually is all on Dylan McCullough. He uses his leg strength and his power, and the one thing I like about him is the fact that he really hits the hole at top speed. There's no hesitation, no waste of time for him, and when you do that, that helps your offensive line. If you have a great offensive line, you have a great back. They work in coordination.
Now 2nd and 3, and all kinds of options for the Bombers. Back to the ground, McCullough. And once again, McCullough just bursts in the middle of that Montreal defense. And McCullough, with a pickup of 4, has a first down for the Bombers.
Well, I'll tell you, Montreal has a kid by the name of Edward Thomas at 6 feet, 216. He is undersized to be playing on the line of scrimmage. Eventually, he's going to go against a Neil Ford or an Azumo KK. They're going to have a field day blocking him as long as they run north or south, evident in the last 2 plays.
Under a minute to go now in the opening quarter. The Bombers on the march, trailing by 3. Play action, Kopp over the middle. He's got his man complete. Mix running and running. Sprints inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. The stop is made by Torrey Hunter, but the pickup is 30 yards.
And I'll tell you one thing that's great about this is you fake the football. It gives you that extra second of protection, and it opens up avenues. Jeff Reinbold is really high on Mitch running. He's a possession receiver. Anybody who's a possession receiver, that means he can diagnose plays, find open areas every day, every game. That's exactly what Running did.
How did Mitch Running get here? He drove. He was released by the Minnesota Vikings and came up for Minneapolis. Should be the final play of the opening quarter. McCullough. Chased down from behind by Brian Clark. That'll limit the gain to just a couple, but the Bombers are inside the Montreal 30-yard line. 3-0 the score in favor of the Alouettes after one quarter on Adidas Friday Night Football.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter.
Welcome back to TSN Football Control. And a bad quarter for Bombers named Mac, McCullough, McLennan. Too many mistakes, Eric.
Well, you know, you look at that drive early. You know, you had McCullough that fumbled when they were in plus territory. They had a great opportunity to generate some points. He put the ball on the ground. Then Spencer McLennan later dropped the ball, a deep ball. He was wide open. When you've got a football team that's struggling on offense, James, you just can't make those kinds of mistakes.
Now, a little extra incentive in this game for Dave Ritchie, as there always is when he goes back to Winnipeg.
Well, Dave has a special affection, you know, for Winnipeg. He was there in 1990 when they won the Grey Cup. He and Sharon often talked about how much they loved the Peg. And so, you know, he loves to go back there and win. And then you look at it back in 1997 when Jeff Reinbold was hired, the two finalists for that job were Jeff and Dave. And I can tell you one thing, trust me on this one, Dave's like an elephant. He never forgets, ever forgets. The fact that they didn't hire him, he always wants to go back there and remind them they hired the wrong guy.
What do you think quickly of Troy Kopp's performance in a word?
I think he's played well. He showed a little bit more poise. What they can't do is put him in situations where he's going to make mistakes.
All right. By the way, we're having fun in here tonight. I don't know what it is. It's something missing that just seems like a much more positive atmosphere. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I don't know.
Has something to do with gel.
Yeah, let's send it back to Gordon Miller and the other guy.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I bet you there's a lot more pizza slices around there tonight because there's a lot fewer here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, eh, big man? They're not quite as tough on you when you're 1,000 miles away.
Exactly. It's very easy to criticize or to evaluate when you have great distances between people. Good for you, Eric.
And those distances will close tomorrow. Here are the numbers after the opening quarter. Montreal held to 2 first downs and 29 yards rushing in that opening quarter. Terry Baker hit a 43-yard field goal.
Well, I really think it was a good quarter for Troy Kopp. He completed some passes. He had the one big drop, and really they got the running game going with McCullough, and it's so important to him to have a balanced offense, to have situations that are easy to complete. His first down efficiency has to be good the whole game.
Now a 2nd and long situation with the ball at the Montreal 28. Here comes the rush to get it away to McCullough. The safety man, Tom Europe, comes up and makes the stop. Otherwise, McCullough was off to the races. It will bring up 3rd down as the pickup was just a couple.
Well, just a beautiful read by Tommy Europe. In a lot of ways, he's playing good football, but I tell you, he can even be better. He's the type of guy as a free safety that comes up, is an excellent tackler, because right now he has him in open space. The hardest thing to do is tackle a running back that has 2 or 3 different options on where to move.
Troy Westwood comes on to try the field goal for the Bombers. Inside the 40, he has been dynamite. He's 18 for 20 this year inside the 40-yard line. This try will come from 35 yards out.
You know, it was really funny because a lot of the field goal kickers early in the season were struggling outside of Paul Espaldison and Hamilton. Now they kind of got their rhythm. Now we have some good kicking in the league.
Bob Cameron is the holder. One hop on the snap, and Westwood punches it to the right. It'll go through the end zone for a single point, so all that good work by Winnipeg goes for naught, and that's been kind of the story for the Bombers this season.
That has been the story of the season. When you see something like a bad snap to the holder, those are details. Those are the little things in football that you have to do in training camp and early in the season. It's easy to make excuses after the first and second game. Mistakes like that, you know, sometimes they happen. You know, you can almost rationalize it. At this point of the season, a situation like that should be automatic. It just kind of shows the overall impression of the fact that as much as they're struggling as a team, they're struggling individually too.
Well, you think about 3 things that stand out in this game. Neil McCullough with the fumble. Spencer McLennan dropping a pass wide open. And now after the big play to Mitch Running, they get one. Montreal begins on the 35-yard line. Calvillo on play action swings it out to Michael Souls. And Souls puts his head down and rides Maurice Kelly out of bounds. A first down and a pickup of 13 yards. Greg Musselman roaming the sidelines. Greg, what do you have?
Bombers defensive back and special teams player Brad Elberg took a hit, either a knee or a helmet in the kidney area. He's in a lot of pain right now and is very upset as well. Felt the penalty should have been called on the play. I asked him if he felt he could get back in the game anytime soon. He said it was doubtful. And again, the Bombers have been hit with a lot of injuries this year. And Brad Elberg, a very key player on special teams, so they'll miss him out there, as well as in the backup defensive back role.
Thank you, Greg. On first down, the ball is dumped off to Matt Cody, and Cody can't get around Grant Carter. Grant Carter, the former Montreal Alouette, who has been a bright light in a dark season for Winnipeg.
In a lot of ways, when you look at this team defensively, Grant Carter is a good edge pass rusher. They don't have Shante Peoples tonight, but he is a good edge pass rusher. They have certain individuals on this team defensively, Joe Fleming, Tyrone Rogers, that would bring something if they ever could play together as a complete unit, because then kind of the whole defensive line works together in coordination. They're close. They just have to get people healthy on the defensive side of the football.
Loss of 2, it's 2nd and 12. Calvillo facing a 4-man rush, and they got it. Wesley Lacey comes in along with Grant Carter, and the Winnipeg defense turns in an impressive series.
Well, we talked about the fact that the defensive line is not individually bad, but if you watch here, Grant Carter isn't picked up by anybody. It's a free ride, and that's a little bit of a mental mistake. Sometimes you have technique mistakes. Sometimes you have physical mistakes. That was a mental mistake.
Ah, the old mental mistake.
That's right. I've had a few.
Which one's worse?
Oh, the mental. Absolutely. If you have a physical mistake, you can always make an excuse. You can't make an excuse for a mental mistake.
Oh, okay. I've tried a few excuses for mental mistakes. I'll pass them along to you later. Baker gets a good high kick away to Blunt at his 30. And they give it off to Stiegel on the reverse. Look out! Here comes Stiegel around the corner. Stiegel across midfield. Still going. Still going. Gone. Touchdown, Winnipeg. The Bombers reach into their bag of tricks and come up with an 80-yard touchdown. And now Troy Westwood with the point after. Flags are down. A huge crowd here in Winnipeg. And if you didn't know better, you'd think the Bombers were at 11-1.
I know, you know, one thing that's really unusual about the Bombers situation is their fan support. Most times if you have a team that has a losing record like this, you do not get a crowd like this that responds as enthusiastically as they did.
Legal procedure. 65 Winnipeg.
They'll have to kick the point after again, and that'll just give the fans and Milt Stiegel more time to celebrate.
Well, I tell you, the two words that come to my mind on that play, innovative and creative. That's called a risk, but it's a risk that paid off, and that's what Winnipeg has to do.
Montreal looked as though they had Stiegel 4 or 5 times. Westwood puts the point after, up and good. Milt Stiegel on the reverse. May have reversed Winnipeg's fortunes in this game. It's the Bombers 8, the Alouettes 3.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won Dirt Devil MVP Swivel Glide Vacuum with patented rear swivel casters and the Ultra Hand Vac with onboard tools. Dirt Devil, powerful vacuums that are incredibly easy to use. Or a Zenith 27-inch digital-ready stereo television with 530 lines of resolution, universal night vision glow-in-the-dark remote, and SEQ front surround sound. Zenith Entertainment, just like they like it. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
I'm Neil Lumsden, GM of the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And I'm head coach Ron Lancaster. The CFL has teamed up with the Canadian Liver Foundation to launch the Touchdown for Tomorrow Hepatitis B Corporate Challenge. We are challenging Canadian companies to have their employees inoculated against this serious but preventable disease.
In Hamilton alone, the city of Hamilton, the region of Hamilton and Wentworth, and Fluke Transport have committed to inoculating their employees. What are you waiting for?
Be offensive, be radical, get immunized against hepatitis B.
If you're not in the stadium, you're really not in the Grey Cup.
Well, you talked about it off the top of the show, Chris, that the return of a guy like Milt Stegall could really make a difference.
And it's the speed that Milt Stegall has, and the run that he made. We'll show it shortly. He slows down, he speeds up, he makes people miss. Big part of their offense, but great special teams play.
Troy Westwood sends the kickoff deep. This is Haskins, chased back to his goal line. Haskins now wants to go back the other way. And is finally corralled at the 34-yard line. Let's take a look at the pitch and the 80-yard punt return for a touchdown.
Well, when you look at this play, the first thing that impresses me is this is risky to pitch him going the opposite direction towards his own goal line. But look at how he slows down, he speeds up, he makes people miss. Almost caught right coming up here there by Charbonneau. But the fact is that he was able to pull away, continues, cuts back. Right there is an excellent block by Michael Souls. Kind of takes it on the way. I mean, Milt Stegall right now is the biggest impact player that Winnipeg has. Perfect opportunity to use him. Risky play, must have been coached a million times throughout the week.
Stegall still talking about what he managed to do on that play, and there have only been 5 punt returns for touchdowns in the Canadian Football League this year. Stegall is the 5th of the season,
which is surprising too, because a lot of times with the width of the football field, the punt return is an easier play to execute. It's a hard play to cover because you really have to stay disciplined. Montreal has to come down in their lanes. They have to close at the right time. As much as you think a punt return is a simple play, it's complicated. It's timing. The blocks by Winnipeg were timed properly, and then Stegall in the second half of the play took it over and made it on his own.
And look at the convoy that carried him into the end zone.
Everyone wants to get on camera at that point.
Oh, yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
A little publicity. And Jeff Reinbold, who came into the Canadian Football League as a special teams coach, comes up with a very special teams play. And you heard Eric Tillman mention it after the first quarter. Dave Ritchie likes to come here. I don't think he'd like to lose to the team that didn't hire him.
Sorry, Gord. Dave Ritchie, one thing he's very good at is he's patient. When his team is behind, he does not panic. He does not get out of the system, the premeditated game plan they're into.
Montreal was down 14-0 in week 1 here and came back to beat Winnipeg. First down, play action for Calvillo, unloading it for Souls, incomplete. And Grant Carter was with him step for step, and this crowd in Winnipeg is really primed up tonight, and Grant Carter's giving them a lot to be primed up about.
Not only Grant Carter, but Doug Hawking is doing very well in the sense that he is sliding down the line of scrimmage on a sprint out. He has a decision. Are you going to go take Anthony Calvillo, or are you going to drop back? He took him, got a good shot. Right now, him and Grant Carter playing exceptionally well.
Grant Carter also brought them quarterback Troy Kopp. They played college football together at Pacific, and it was Carter who convinced Jeff Reinbold to bring Kopp in. Second down, Calvillo unloads, and he got unloaded on. Pass is incomplete. There's a flag down in the defensive secondary. And And pass interference appears to be the call against Winnipeg. Anthony Calvillo got bombed as he unloaded the football.
I tell you, Wesley Lisi.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg 33. First down.
Nick Ferguson call.
Wesley Lisi athletically can do remarkable things. As the games have progressed, he's been more and more of a dominant player. Anthony Calvillo can't take that many hits. He has to continue to avoid that first rush, or you get scared, you get intimidated, you get rid of the pass too early. The bottom line, though, is an obvious pass interference penalty.
It's a 14-yard penalty and a first down for Montreal at the 48. Option. Calvillo. He saw Wesley Lisi coming that time, and he got the flaps down in a hurry.
Well, Gord, I tell you, the last thing I would have anticipated in this situation is an option by Anthony Calvillo. Nice little call by Richie. Anthony Calvillo is not known as a running back. The way you stop an option is you have great team speed. But look at his decision process here. He sees the opening, the seam, cuts back. He's over pursued, but still gets sandwiched pretty good.
He saw Lisi coming and dropped anchor in a hurry.
I would too.
Game was 9. Option again. Anthony Calvillo has the first down, a pickup of 4 yards, and that time Lisi was nowhere in sight.
Well, if it works once, why not try it again? I don't know how much Anthony Calvillo wants this within the playbook, but as long as you're gaining yards on it, don't stop it. Now what will happen is they have the pitch option, but also watch. He may settle back and throw the football off of that play.
That's the Tracy Ham portion of the Montreal Alouette playbook, and it's working well for Anthony Calvillo. First down, Montreal at the Winnipeg 49. Mike Pringle, remember him? Oh, what a tackle. Great job in the open field by Maurice Kelly. Otherwise, Pringle would still be running.
And that's the type of play that Maurice Kelly has to make on Mike Pringle, because it was a beautiful counter block. Pierre Verchevel kicked out. Umzuzumo KK pulled through. And watch the open space right now that Pringle has. I mean, in his mind, he's talking touchdown. It's one-on-one with Mo Kelly, and look at that tackle. That's remarkable.
In the last 3 years, Mike Pringle's played Winnipeg 7 times and rushed for 1,000 yards. Wow. Second down, Calvillo dumps it off for Souls. Souls close to the first down. He dropped the football. And the Bombers have it. Scooped up by Reggie Carthon. And Carthon's gone. Touchdown, Bombers. Can you believe it? Return for a touchdown. A fumble recovery for a touchdown. Who needs offense?
Well, what a perfect situation in a game of this magnitude for Montreal, because Montreal is not a great come-from-behind team. They don't have what is known as a great vertical downfield passing game. This is what Winnipeg has been trying to do, is create turnovers through pressure defense. They finally got to in a situation that they desperately needed them early in the game.
The point after is up and good. Michael Souls loses it, and Reggie Carthon takes it 70 yards to the house.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. Hope you're enjoying the football game. We will get you back there in just a second. Let's check in on a baseball game being played at Skydome. Toronto Blue Jays playing host to the Detroit Tigers. Woody Williams stood tied for the Jays record for homers allowed in a season. But in the third inning, he took that record all for himself, giving up 3. Tony Clark there with the third. The Tigers scoring 4 runs in the inning. Woody has now allowed 36 home runs this season. Tigers still lead the ball game in the 6th. Elsewhere, Yankees are up 6-1 on the Devil Rays. New York looking for win number 112. And this just in, Sammy Sosa has hit home run number 66 to lead McGuire. McGuire has walked in his first at-bat. I'll see you again at halftime. We're back to the football game right after this.
If we ask you to invest your money in Altamira funds,
Shouldn't we be doing the same thing with our own money? Of course. That's why every Altamira fund manager invests their own money in the same fund they want you to invest in. Every one. So they're treating your money like their own money. It gives you confidence as an investor. You feel much better because you know the person's there with you. Side by side, you're partners. You're a team. It's not just business. It's personal.
All right, as Lisa just said. All right, as Lisa just said, let's take it to Houston. That is Sammy, and that is Gonzo. That is number 66. He takes the lead over McGuire in the home run race. Let's get you back to the ball game now.
Now, what's that ball worth? I can't keep track. I can't keep track here either. Bombers after the touchdown kick it off. This is Thomas Haskins. Haskins dragged down at the 33-yard line. A 62-yard kick, a return of 20. Let's look back at the fumble recovery for a touchdown by Reggie Carthon.
Well, you look at this play. I mean, basically, it's two players. If you continue right there, David Mieva-Fries gets the first tackle, and then Doug Hawking on the second. That's the two interior linebackers. That's exactly what they have to do. Souls didn't protect the football in the perfect situation for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, picked up by Maurice Carthon. And look at these escorts down there. Anytime you can get on TV, all of a sudden you find some friends. And there's all the friends right behind him. Nice little move down the sidelines. Touchdown Winnipeg. Perfect situation.
Reggie Carthon's second career Canadian Football League touchdown. He had another one with the BC Lions in 1996. And this is a remarkable turn of events for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. When you think about what they went through in the opening quarter, and there is an injured Winnipeg Blue Bomber on the kick return, is Wade Miller, who was out for 6 weeks at the start of the season with an injury and is down again. So you think of Brad Elberg down earlier, and now Wade Miller. That's two key guys on special teams for Jeff Reinbold's Bombers. They lead 15-3 with 8:16 to play in the second quarter.
In a busy clinic like this, things can get pretty crazy. Like the other day, a headache hit and I needed fast relief. I could have taken aspirin or Tylenol, but more and more doctors are now recommending Advil. They say just one Advil's tough on headaches. And they're right. One is often enough.
And now there's Children's Advil for 8 hours of fever relief.
What do I want from someone? Honesty, generosity, kindness. I mean, somebody who laughs at my jokes. Independence. I mean, I want somebody who doesn't need me. I mean, somebody who really, really wants me, but doesn't need me. I mean, desire's about what you want, not what you need.
Contradiction from Men, a new fragrance from Calvin Klein. At the Bay.
Excel, acceleration, breath. Excel.
Excel's unique cooling sensation hits you with a burst of explosive mouth-cooling freshness.
Excel, acceleration, breath.
So don't just freshen your breath, accelerate it with the explosive cooling sensation of Excel sugar-free gum.
Excel, acceleration, breath.
Back in Winnipeg, I'm Gord Miller, 6'3", next to Chris Schultz.
That's all right, Gordy.
Yeah, I'm standing in a hole. I feel a little inadequate here. And I tell you what, you got to think the Montreal Alouettes are feeling a little funny here, too. They've dominated this football game offensively, and they're trailing 15-3. Last time they had the ball, they fumbled it for a touchdown. Now Calvillo going deep. He's got him in. Oh, Matt Cody almost made the circus catch. And Calvillo had him.
He sure had him, and that was Matt Cody based on his speed at the wide receiver position. But really, I think more than anything else, Dave Ritchie's patience will be tested when you're down this type of points, 15-3. You don't want to really panic. You don't want to get in 2nd and 10s. His patience is really important right now to get this continuity, get his running game back together. We're still early in the second quarter. Wow, nice effort by Matt Cody, really parallel to the line of scrimmage. Unfortunately, the ground cannot cause the reception as it can't cause the fumble. Good play, Matt Cody.
Mike Pringle has just 15 yards rushing in this game. Second down. Calvillo's under pressure. He gets away from Fleming. Cahoon. Antonio Banks was there on the coverage. It'll be 2 and out for Montreal.
2 and out for Montreal, and the biggest fact is Anthony Calvillo right now can't set his feet when he wants to throw the football because of pressure. Quarterbacks, like any other position, they have certain mechanics, they have certain things they have to rely on. But right here, Joe Fleming, best defensive lineman for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, makes Calvillo panic, and look at his feet. He doesn't really set him, throws off of the one with too much weight, incomplete pass. As much as you want to pressure a quarterback, you want to take his confidence out of his game.
Eric Blunt back to receive. The punt from Terry Baker. Good kick by Baker. Blunt from the 33. No reverse this time. And Blunt gets buried at the 34. A 2-yard return of a 44-yard punt. Here is something remarkable for you about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have had the ball for 49 seconds in this quarter offensively.
Well, I think what Winnipeg has to do is, the fact is that they're ahead. They can't get conservative. They have to use that 49 seconds, develop it in about a 5-minute drive.
49 seconds.
Amazing.
And they've got two touchdowns and a single, but the offense hasn't done any of it.
Not a thing, really. But stay aggressive for Winnipeg. Don't get conservative at this point.
Defense and special teams saying, okay, we got our points. Now you get yours. Kopp gives it off on first down. And Sean Millington gets his first carry of the game. Millington gets a gain of maybe a couple, and Sean Millington has really been the forgotten man in Winnipeg this year.
He's been the forgotten man, but they have patience with him because he's a character guy. He's good on special teams. He really couldn't rehabilitate his foot injury early in the season. He got off to a slow start. He ended up being replaced. He averages 172 yards, 3.9. That's not good numbers for Sean Millington.
Second down, Kopp. High throw. He was looking for Cotto Cotton. Troy Kopp has a great arm, but that time that was incomplete to Wilt Chamberlain.
One of the best things, or one of the things you have to have in a quarterback in the CFL, is the ability to throw precisely on the move. Not everybody can do it. It's one thing to take 3, 5, 7-step drop, throw the football with accuracy and velocity. There are not many quarterbacks that can truly sprint and really pinpoint a pass. It's a skill that he's going to have to develop. Tom Ports, the offensive coordinator right there, is talking to him right now, saying just a little bit off that football, we would have had a completion.
Bob Cameron back to punt. Back deep to receive the kick, standing at his 25. Cameron aiming it away from him. A low kick. And Matt Cody hustles back to get it at the 20. Cody still going back and going nowhere. Mitch Running got there. Along with Wayne Weathers, a loss of 9 on a 51-yard punt. It's a net of 60 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the ageless Bob Cameron, whose CIAU record for the longest pass was broken this week at Acadia, but he's playing in his 319th consecutive game. And there's Glenn Suter down at the bottom at 194. And let me congratulate my broadcast partner, who tonight is being inducted into the Saskatchewan Roughrider Plaza of Honor. But you had a question about the 194 consecutive game.
Well, I wanted to know how many plays he actually made within those 194. That's an outstanding record, especially for a free safety that has to come up and make tackles.
And why not go for 200?
200 is what I wanted to know.
Here's Pringle, wrapped up again. Neva got in there quickly. Hawking got in there quickly. And it's finished off by Tyrone Rogers.
Well, right now, when you assess this, the defensive line for Winnipeg is playing one of their best games. Usually they have trouble getting a lot of people to the football, but Tyrone Rogers was on the backside of the play, pursued nicely down the line to become part of the play. Really, Reinbold has to be excited the way his defense is playing.
Mike Pringle, 7 carries, 13 yards in the game. On second down, Calvillo looking for Armstrong. He's got it. It's a foot race, and Armstrong's gone. Touchdown, 98 yards. Chris Armstrong, the former Bomber, torches them for a 98-yard major. We've had a 70-yard touchdown, an 80-yard touchdown, and now a 98-yarder.
Wow. And what's so nice about that play is he hit him in stride. Anthony Calvillo does have a good arm. He has the ability to throw the football consistently 15, 20, 30 yards on a pop, and that's a great example of what he does best, is throw the football downfield.
That's the longest touchdown of the year in the Canadian Football League, and the longest of Chris Armstrong's career, and it comes just as the skies open here in Winnipeg. Terry Baker puts the point after up and good, and on a night of big plays, Chris Armstrong has the latest.
Well, you watch the play here, it's really interesting because everybody was picked up. He had time to look off the receiver, find the one in the seam, just what's known like a sideline hash post. Catches it in stride. Really nice catch by Chris Armstrong. He doesn't even look back to the opposite side. There he is. Back to the opposite side, changes angle, touchdown. Really nice play here by Pierre Herscheveld going against Tyrone Rogers. Sustains contact, arms inside, fights for position, keeps him off his quarterback. Maybe touches him on a little shoulder, but he'll grade out in the plus on that one.
And the play made by Armstrong to take the ball away from Nick Ferguson, and Anthony Calvillo has something to celebrate. A 98-yard pass and run touchdown. You can see the rain now falling here in Winnipeg. The forecast was for some rain to fall, and yeah, there's some rain, all right.
And you know when this is at the worst is early in the game when the rain just starts falling, because now it's slippery. If the field were to get soaked, that's actually going to help your footing. It's the first, it's that first 5 minutes. It's slick on the top. That's an advantage for the offensive football teams because they know where they're going. Defense has to react, but the first 5 minutes, you'll see a few players fall down in different situations.
You ever seen so many big plays in one half? Blunt from the 15. Uh-oh, here he comes the other way. Blunt! Can you believe it? Touchdown! 95 yards!
Wow.
I need a nap!
Amazing.
Have you ever seen so many more big plays?
Not one half. Not back-to-back like that. I mean, we've talked about Eric Blunt and his ability to turn things around very quickly, leading the league in punt returns and kick returns, and this is a big play for Winnipeg to get momentum back in their side. Amazing. You see Dave Ritchie kind of shaking his head saying, we have practiced this. We knew what his abilities were. They didn't close on the football. He wasn't even touched the full length of the field. Nicely blocked by Winnipeg.
Unbelievable, Eric Blunt. There have only been 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year in the Canadian Football League, and Eric Blunt has both of them. And to put it in perspective, no kickoffs were returned for touchdowns last year.
Well, watch closely. Grabs it on the bounce, and he just runs up with no fear. Easy seam for him. He doesn't even get touched. Well blocked. Everyone's downfield. Turns it on, kind of shifts to the right to make the last guy miss. Just a wonderfully blocked, executed kickoff return by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Wow, and you talk about the wedge.
Yes,
that was the flying wedge for Winnipeg.
The wedge was there.
And they're singing in the rain in Winnipeg. 4:16 to go. It's 22-10 Winnipeg. If you're just joining us, the Bombers had an 80-yard touchdown on a punt return with a reverse. They had a 70-yard touchdown on a fumble recovery. Then Montreal had a 98-yard pass and run touchdown, followed by a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
And Gord, when we were on the field earlier, we could tell the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were focused and ready to go just in some of our conversations with the players. But this has been outstanding first half in terms of big plays.
Okay, Montreal, the ball's in your court. This is Bruno Heppel. Now, if he takes one back, you really got something. Out to the 38-yard line he goes. 4:09 to go in the second quarter, and somebody's actually going to try to do something offensively.
Well, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. There's so many opportunities for big plays, and they usually happen in the second half of the season because players just get a little lackadaisical in the special teams department and the little details of the game. Obviously, it was a combination of Winnipeg great blocking, but also Montreal did not realize the significance of playing every play 100%. Wow. Here's Pringle. Whoa, look out. Mike Pringle burst into the middle of that defense like a missile. David Mieva and Maurice Kelly came up to greet him. But the gain is 6 for Pringle. You know, it's an amazing play, and when you talk about a Mike Pringle, the thing that really impresses me, not his physical toughness, but his mental toughness. When you start taking hits like this and you go back to the huddle, you're aware of it, but you have to keep calm and calm and calm, and that's Mike Pringle. This is one mentally tough young man. Mike Pringle is a phenomenal story when you think about the fact that of the top 5 rushing performances in CFL history, yes, Mike Pringle has turned in 3 of them. So the 5 best single-season rushing performances in league history, Mike Pringle has 3 of them. And since 1975, no one in the Canadian Football League has run for more yards than Mike Pringle. Wow. I think what makes him so good, though, is his acceleration. The fact that he hits the line of scrimmage in full speed. Behind him in 1975, Willie Burton, Earl Lunsford, 1961, and then Pringle and Pringle. I mean, that's like that level of consistency really makes him unique in our league when you come to evaluating running backs. Well, Pringle, last week, with his performance against Hamilton, moved ahead of Damon Allen and into 6th place on the CFL's all-time rushing list. If he stays at his current pace and posts about 1,900 or 2,000 yards, Pringle will end the year as the 4th leading rusher in Canadian Football League history. Only Normie Kwong, Johnny Bright, and George Reed would be ahead of him. Those are very familiar names to Canadian Football League fans, and I think one of the reasons that he would have a possibility to continue to progress is his off-season job. He's a physical fitness consultant, which means he has to take care of other people's bodies and not his own. So he's constantly working out. He's constantly in shape. You combine that with his style of play, he just might progress up the charts as an all-time leading rusher. Reggie Carthon injured on that last play. He makes his way off the field, so Maurice Kelly will move to defensive halfback, and John Kalin comes in as the safety. Second down. This is Pringle. And Pringle just bashes his way ahead and moves the pile close to midfield out to the 53-yard line for a first down. I think with John Kalin at free safety right now, the conversation on the bench of the Montreal Alouettes is, can we take advantage of this? Because anytime you have a singular substitution, the people up top are looking at it saying, well, let's see how we react to certain plays. Then we'll try to get him out of position and make a big play. Just to finish the thought on Pringle, think about it. Breaking a rushing record these days in a pass-happy Canadian Football League. Play fake to Pringle. Calvillo wants to go wide open. Big Cahoon. Nobody home. And that may be a case where the new guy, Antonio Banks, number 2, got caught. Banks went the wrong way. Cahoon was wide open. There is a flag on the play. We'll tell you about it when we come back. 22-10. Winnipeg leads Montreal in a wild Friday in Winnipeg.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win, and you could win $1 million. Or a Samsung Hi8 stereo camcorder, the Dirt Devil MVP Swivel Glide and Ultra Handbag, a VTech digital cordless phone, Fill a Shave with reflex action from Philips, or win a vacation trip for 2 to the Vias Vallarta Hotel via Air Transat, courtesy of World of Vacations, Canada's #1 tour operator to the sun. Look for Ocean Spray Cocktail, Green Giant Vegetables. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
You expect to drive your Toyota for a long time, but servicing is key. Some mechanics know a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. Only Toyota Quality Service guarantees the work is done right by the time promised at the price quoted. They've even put their name on it. Just look for this Quality Service pledge only at your Toyota retailer.
Toyota Quality Service, the one to trust.
Reggie Carthon getting medical attention on the bench is part of the story tonight, and what a story it has been The first half isn't over yet, and we've had 4 touchdowns of 70-plus yards, all in the second quarter.
And you can really look at these plays. The Milsteagel 80-yard punt return was a play that Winnipeg developed. The Reggie Carthon fumble return, that was a mistake by Montreal. The Chris Armstrong 95-yard catch, a positive play by Montreal's offense. Eric Blunt's 96-yard kickoff return. I mean, oh my God, look at them go. Really good special teams play by the Bombers.
Carthon remains on the bench for Winnipeg, so Maurice Kelly will continue to play halfback, and John Kalen will stay in at safety. And here's Greg Musselman.
Okay, Gord, Reggie Carthon said he slipped out there and pulled a groin. He's had some groin injury problems this year, but he says he's going to get back out there. Of course, had that electrifying touchdown after he picked up the fumble. The Bombers are hurting with the defensive backs, but Carthon getting ready to get back in there.
Brad Elberg, their backup safety, is also shaken up, so the Bombers getting thin at DB. First down, Montreal. The Alouettes at their 43. All day for Calvillo. Now on the run. Look out. He saw Doug Hawking coming. It was 1st and 20, and that time Calvillo got 7.
And you can tell that Anthony Calvillo went back to pass to try to pick on John Kalen, the free safety. Wherever he went, Calvillo was looking for his opposite side, and that's exactly what they should do. The 2 secondary players, John Kalen and Antonio Banks, are young. They're inexperienced. You can get them out of position and make plays.
Antonio Banks plays the wide side of the field. He essentially covers half an NFL field by himself. Second down. Calvillo, lots of time. Wide open. He's got Matt Cody. And it's a first down or close to it. Check that. Jock Climby with the catch down to the 46-yard line. And Jock Climby, who flew in this afternoon to this game after writing a law exam this morning in Ottawa, has the catch for a first down.
Well, what I liked about that play more than anything else is just showed how 3 phases combined. The nice drop, the good pass protection, the nice pattern. When you get that type of units working well together, you get positive yards.
You're a witness, Counselor.
That's right.
Pringle. Oh, look out. He ran right into David Meva. I'll tell you what, never mind a bag of ice. Just bury Mieva in ice tonight.
I know, because him and Hawking, I mean, the separation between these 2 guys, basically Pringle has a 7-yard run right at Mieva. What he did well is he went low. If you take Mike Pringle up high, he's going to gain yards. Take his legs out from under him. Right now, Mieva and Hawking are playing good football.
Gain was 3, 2nd and 7. Calvillo, lots of time, going deep. Complete. That pass, I think, went off the helmet of safety John Kalen, who was back helping Nick Ferguson on the coverage.
And really, that could have been a completed pass, because if Anthony Calvillo had thrown it just about 2 yards longer, it would have been right in the hands of the receiver. And as I tried to say, they will pick on John Kalen and kind of beans him right in the back of the head. If he had turned around, that would have been an interception. Remember the rule. The defensive back has to be playing the ball for it not to be interference. He'll go to the bench and they'll say, you know, great play with your head, but you got to turn around to catch the ball.
Now Terry Baker to try a 50-yard field goal. Baker's longest of the year, 52. Baker has lots on it, and it is good. And a big field goal for the Montreal Alouettes with 1:29 to go in the first half. Baker brings them within 9. We talked about it earlier. It really has been quite a story in Winnipeg tonight. 3 touchdowns of 70-plus yards. And to give you an idea, coming into this game tonight, there had been only 4 punt returns for touchdowns in the Canadian Football League and only 1 kickoff return for a touchdown. We've seen 1 of each tonight.
And really, when you look at covering special teams play, the majority of the technique work is right on the line of scrimmage. There's 1 or 2 moves, and then it's almost a sprint. It's an aggressive attack. It's closing. It's angles. If it's well blocked, you can hit a seam and you can go.
1:29 to go, and Troy Kopp and the Bombers have a chance to add to their 9-point lead. And this time the give goes to Sean Millington. Millington with a gain of 5. Gets out to the 41-yard line. And think back to 2 weeks ago, Sean Millington saw only 3 offensive plays for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and played on special teams. Not what Winnipeg was looking for when it lured Millington from BC in the offseason.
And I'm sure he hears about it all the time, but that's what they need from Millington, is to put them in easier situations in second down. He ran over the defender in that instance.
Clock running. Play action. Cobb once again overthrew the receiver by quite a bit. Mitch Running was the intended target, and Cobb needs to drop the sights a little bit.
He really does, but it is a good choice of plays because you fake with the running back, you can set your feet and throw. Anytime you throw the ball too high, usually your feet are parallel. When you can put one foot forward, then you can drill the balls. The coaches will get to him. Tom Porce will talk to him and say, look, this is what you're doing technically wrong. Take another second to complete the pass. You have time out there, relax, just go from A to B.
Problem is he's throwing from A to C right now. He's A to D. Threw right over B there.
Yeah.
Bob Cameron back to punt. Matt Cody and Thomas Haskins back to receive. This is Haskins from the 22-yard line. Gets by Caleb. Gets by Miller. Can't get by Grant Carter. A 5-yard return of the punt. Do you like Aussie rules football, Chris?
Whoa, I'd like to try that one day, but not on AstroTurf.
The grand finals tonight.
Is
North
that right?
Melbourne against Adelaide. It's the Kangaroos of North Melbourne against the Crows of Adelaide. Now, Adelaide...
What's the point spread?
Well, Adelaide is the defending champion, as you probably know.
I do.
Yeah,
yes.
and the Kangaroos are one of the oldest teams in all of Australian rules football.
Well established.
And Muhammad Ali is going to be there tonight.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That is interesting stuff. That is a wacky game.
Anything else you like? And there's Eric Tillman and James Duffy getting ready for the halftime show. First down, Calvillo pump fake. Can't find anything open. Takes off. And he'll slide to the 40-yard line for a pickup of 7 yards.
Well, when you watch Anthony Calvillo, he's still, in terms of evaluating a quarterback, you know, he just panics at the last second. He had plenty of time. He didn't necessarily have to run. Nice pump fake, but you should set and still put the ball up in the air, throw into a spot.
He's played behind some abysmal offensive lines in his career, though. Calvillo to Armstrong. He dropped the pass. It'll be 3rd down.
And, you know, Gord, that is a good point, because last year Anthony Calvillo was the most criticized quarterback in the entire league, and nobody really realized that he had no time. He was taking punishment game in and game out. He is behind a better offensive line. He regains his confidence, a better quarterback. There is that relationship.
Well, you know, Chris, I've always said that when a quarterback is struggling, it's usually the offensive lineman's fault.
Well, yes, especially a left tackle, huh?
Here's Tracy Ham looking on. Ham shaken up last week against Hamilton is the observer as Calvillo plays this week. Eric Blunt is back to receive the punt from Terry Baker. Well, look out. Maurice Kelly almost got in to block it, and now here comes Blunt. What's he got in store now? The sidelines. He's worn out. He goes out of the 33, a 2-yard return of a 39-yard punt. Hey, the theme to that's hockey. We'll have the NHL preview Monday night, starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, followed by our Major League Baseball playoff preview with Paul Romanuk and Pat Tabler. All you need to know about the upcoming NHL season and the upcoming Major League Baseball postseason Monday night, starting at 7 Eastern on TSN.
Now, Gord, you will follow hockey. Who do you like this year? I'm going to have to put you on the spot a little bit.
Oh,
educate me. Educate
Philadelphia
me.
Flyers.
Good for you.
Philadelphia Flyers. Winnipeg has had the ball for just 3 minutes in this second quarter. And look out, here goes Millington. Sean Millington showing the form that made him a CFL All-Star twice. Burst through the middle of that defense for a 26-yard gain.
And I cannot begin to tell you how important it is that Millington regains his confidence. And really, watch the mesh point here between Troy Kopp and Millington. Perfectly timed. Look at the nice little seam. That is not a big hole by the offensive line. Evades the safety Europe, and he's well on his way.
Longest carry of the year for Sean Millington. And now on second down, it's a gain of about 6. And the Bombers will call timeout as Millington gets them inside the 45-yard line. 15 seconds to go here
in the second quarter. The thing I noticed is now the Winnipeg offensive line is aggressive. They're sustaining blocks. They have confidence that they can maintain with the Millington running hard their blocks, get Millington to the second level, the linebacker level, where all he has to do is make a little half-yard move to get him in the secondary level, and then just go ahead and run over the secondary.
Well, you think back to last season, and Sean Millington turned in one of the most impressive single-game rushing performances in league history, 212 yards against Saskatchewan. From the 45, back to Millington. And he'll get down to the 40-yard line with 11 seconds to go. And now will Reinbold call for the field goal unit, 11 seconds to go. He'll likely have to. So Troy Westwood will come on. And the crowd wants them to go to the end zone. They're 1-11. They're leading for one of the few times against one of the top teams in the Canadian Football League, and the crowd wants them to rub it in.
Winnipeg Gore did a good job of positioning themselves for the opportunity of the 3 points. They didn't get greedy. Smart plays.
Westwood will try it from 48 yards out. Bob Cameron, the holder. High snap. But Westwood puts it through. Troy Westwood with a 48-yard field goal on the final play of the first half. And Winnipeg will go to the room with a 25-13 lead after a wild first half on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Welcome to Live at the Half, brought to you by Health Watch, only at Shoppers Drug Mart. Here's your host, James Duffy.
This may be the first time ever we need oxygen in the studio. That was unbelievable. I tell you, when the Bombers are doing their highlight reel at the end of the season, they should scrap the rest of the games and just put that first half on. That was unreal.
Yeah, it really was. You know, they struggled early offensively, but they found a way to manufacture points. They got those 3 scores, and I think, as Chris pointed out so well, they gained confidence. That last drive was really important to get 3 points, James.
Now, is there a full moon out there tonight, or is there a reasonable explanation for all this?
Well, I think you go back to what we talked about in the pregame. This is Montreal's second game in 5 days. That has such a factor. That's such a factor, you know, in this game. This is a tired football team. They had to travel to Hamilton. They had to travel to Winnipeg again. If they can find a way to win tonight, to get out of this game with a 1-point win, Dave Ritchie's got to be the happiest guy in Canada.
Well, you can bet they will be talking about this on the CFL chat groups. You want to take part? Well, dial it up. Here's your CFL website, stories, chats, you got it. Put in your 2 cents worth. We'll be back.
CFL football is one tough game. Touch football is one fun game. Football Canada and Football Ontario invite you to have some fun. Join one of the many adult touch football leagues across Canada. The Canadian Football League, along with Molson Canadians, support their efforts. Call Football Canada.
Welcome back. Well, if the rest of the weekend is anything like this first half, don't leave your couch. CBC has Toronto and Edmonton tomorrow night. Hamilton is also at BC. And then we've got Calgary at Saskatchewan Sunday, starting at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. And all this wild stuff, well, it started quietly. Remember, this game was 3-0 after 1 quarter of play, and then the TDs started coming in bunches, and this was the one that got it all started. A Montreal punt, and yes, key play, well, here it comes. The Alouettes punting. Eric, let's be blunt, to Milt Stiegel. Milty, you're running the wrong way, but no, now he's going the right way, and he's got legs, and he's at the 40, 45, 50, 50, 45, and Michael Souls gets taken out by his own man, and there's 3 blockers, and there's no Als left, and Eric, I'm out of breath. Take it out. Go.
Hey, when you're 1-11, James, this is the sort of stuff you have to do to win a football game. And they made a big play at a critical time. Montreal had the momentum. They scored. This completely changes the complexion of the first half. Hey, bottom line, Montreal has leads in time of possession 2-1, but Winnipeg has found ways to manufacture points.
And you say hardly any work from the offense in that second quarter until that last drive which is probably important, even though it was just a field goal, for them to establish something on offense, because special teams was doing the rest.
Well, again, they put points on the scoreboard, and this is a football team that's got to be tired talking about Montreal, and I think that's going to show up in the second half. And the other key factor, the crowd is now alive and well and in this game.
Indeed, and you know, if this one looked good on TV, imagine what it's like to be there in Winnipeg. You can check out the CFL experience live yourself. Here's the ticket information in your city.
No one can match their numbers. No one else has the tools to keep your Toyota running its absolute best. For the finest care, see only your Toyota retailer. Toyota Quality Service, the one to trust.
This year in Canada, there'll be over 140,000 emergency room visits because of asthma. That's why for the first time ever, we're holding asthma clinic days across the country, where people with asthma can have a personal consultation with a Health Watch pharmacist and receive a customized asthma plan to help manage this illness, free of charge. If you have asthma, please join us. By doing so, you could very well save yourself a trip to the hospital.
Potholes, alignment killers.
My car starts shaking, it's time for an alignment.
I hate that shimmying thing.
For $44.95, you can get a honkin' boutonniere or a Midas alignment special.
You get a computerized wheel alignment.
Rotate and balance all 4 tires.
And a free written brake inspection.
A bad alignment can really chew up your tires. This is merely a dramatization.
The mind, the body, and the car should all be aligned as one.
$44.95 for an alignment? That's a special occasion.
This is one of the most amazing things in the world. You can cut it, shape it, fasten it together, make just about anything you want out of it, and be really proud of what you've done. At Home Building Centers, we buy big, with more stores providing building supplies to people all across Canada. No matter how big a job you're facing, we can help you handle it. Home Building Centers, we've got your lumber.
All right, and don't forget, yes, the CFL on CBC tomorrow night. It's Kerwin Bell and the Argos at 7-5 against the Eskimos, another 7-5 team. And we know Jeff Reinbold loves to live on the wild side, so he has to love that wild first half of play. He spoke with our Greg Musselman just a couple of minutes ago.
Head coach and director of football operation Jeff Reinbold, some great plays there from your special teams.
We've got some big play players. You know, Milt's a big play guy, and he'll give you effort whatever you ask him to do. And you know, Eric Blunt's made magic for us all season. We just got to keep going offensively, get a touchdown offensively, and you know, we're not going to back off on defense. We'll continue to blitz them. AC got over the top of us one time, but hey, our personality is to be a pressure defense, and that's the way it will be.
Good to see Sean Millington also get the ball and get some production.
It was, and it was good to see that kind of reaction out of him. I've been frustrated for Sean all year, and he's a great kid that's battled through some adversity, and hopefully that'll be the harbinger of good things to come in the second half.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, he seems pretty calm after that first half, and I guess he really doesn't have much reason to be excited about his offense. Only 109 net yards, and they scored 25 points and 3 long touchdowns, and as we said, time of possession completely dominated by the Montreal Alouettes, and I guess lost in that first half the fact that Anthony Cavillo did a pretty good job in controlling that Al's offense.
Well, AC shown some positive things, but still, from Montreal's standpoint, they're down by 12 points. And the one thing that they cannot afford to do now is to give up some points quickly. This is an offense that's not structured to come from behind. If they have to do that, if they have to change their offense, then they take away their key weapon, which is Mike Pringle. So if Winnipeg gets another 7 or even another 3 quickly, Montreal's in big trouble.
And let's start talking about the implication of this game. If Montreal loses, first of all, what does it mean in the East?
Well, it means the guys in the blue jerseys, Toronto, watching the game in Edmonton, are jumping up and down and cheering right now, because if Toronto wins tomorrow night, Montreal loses this one, there's just a half a game separating them, and those two teams, Montreal and Toronto, play back-to-back week 15 and 16. So the Owls need to win this one, or Toronto is breathing down their neck.
And don't forget, it seems a little far-fetched, but the Bombers are not out of the playoff race either. They could still catch BC and Saskatchewan in the West and get over into the playoffs on a crossover. As we go to break, let's check out our players of the week from last week. And Carwin Bell led the way for the Argos. Another big game for him. Calvin Tiggle and Malvin Hunter complete the trio.
I can see clearly now.
What you have is an insurance claim. What you really want at a time like this is help and understanding. At Royal and Sun Alliance Insurance, meeting your needs with 24-hour claim service is just forward thinking. Call for a Royal and Sun Alliance broker near you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Giles, president of the Canadian Football League.
Hi, I'm Paul Masadi, wide receiver of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts.
The CFL has been built on the philosophy of safety first. That's why we've joined forces with the Canadian Liver Foundation to raise awareness about hepatitis B and to ensure that all our players are immunized against this serious but preventable disease.
Anybody can catch hepatitis B, but the good news is it can be prevented.
Be offensive, be radical, get immunized against hepatitis B.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. Hope you're enjoying the football game. Almost lost in all the home run talk this season is the New York Yankees, looking to set the American League record for most wins in a season, right now tied with the 1954 Cleveland Indians at 111 wins. Playing host to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, Dave Island making his first major league appearance since '95, and Bernie Williams starts the offense as he smacks a shot into left. Rich Butler has little trouble with it once it yanks. New York keeps coming with the offense. Jorge Posada poking an RBI double to left. That makes it 4-1 New York, and there is the score as we speak. As we showed you earlier, Sammy Sosa has hit home run number 66 against the Astros. Sosa has taken the home run lead away from Mark McGwire for only the second time this season. Big Mac 0 for 1 with a walk against the Montreal Expos right now. Time for a quick break, and then we are back to Adidas Friday Night Football.
Everybody needs a minivan from Chrysler.
The game story brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends. See you tonight. Winnipeg has scored 25 points in the second quarter. The Bombers this season have only scored 25 points in a game once.
You know, when you look at the game, Montreal has the time of possession, 2-1, as mentioned by Eric Tillman, but the game really comes down to big plays. If I had the option to have a team that can possess the ball forever and score consistently by going the length of the field, or the team that can make the big plays as quick, I always take the big plays. Making those type of plays, score quick, puts you in a wonderful position.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers have only scored 25 points in 12 games. In the third quarter, they have not, in fact, scored an offensive touchdown. Now, this is a team that at the half this year has led 5 times, but only won once. Hey, more happening in the home run race. Let's take you back to TSN Control.
Busch Stadium just moments ago. What's on a Big Mac? 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a mammoth home run. Hello, Sammy. They are tied again at 66. Let's get you back to the Peg.
Oh, the guy who caught Sammy 66 is disappointed because it's no longer the record ball. Troy Westwood kicks it off. It's fielded to the 25-yard line by Matt Cody, and Cody slips to the 42-yard line. A 16-yard return. So Anthony Calvillo will take the field for the second half. The air attack brought to you by Sorel, rugged Canadian original footwear. And he's been at his best going to the right. He's 4 for 5 there. He'd actually be perfect, but he had a drop. Yes, opening half.
He had a big drop, which would have padded those statistics, and he can't have this in his half because he's not going to have that many opportunities for, once again, big plays.
On first down, here's Pringle. Pringle just barrels up to the 48-yard line. Pringle held to 32 yards rushing on 10 carries in that opening half, but he opens the second half with a 6-yard pickup.
But still, Gord, they have to be patient with what they do best, which is Mike Pringle. Now we have a 2nd and 3, a 2nd and 4, opens up all other phases of your offense. There's only a 15-point difference here. You're one play away, one drive away, becoming right back into the football game.
Worth noting that Pringle, historically, much better in the second half than the first. Pringle around the corner, still going. Pringle, look out! Brought down from behind, he lost the football. And Antonio Banks has it for Winnipeg. Just when it looked like Mike Pringle might take it to the end zone, he's brought down from behind on a 55-yard run, and it's scooped up by Antonio Banks.
Well, as you watch the play, it's obvious during halftime the Montreal Alouettes said, if we run this cross counter and deceptive, we're going to get plays. Mike Pringle does a wonderful job, but you have to protect the football. Nicely stripped fumble. Another big change for motion for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. If you have enough situations where you change the motion in your effort, you're going to complete plays, you're going to win games.
The Bombers now stuck at their own 6, but they were looking right down the barrel of the Alouettes moments ago. First down, the give to Sean Millington, and Millington is out close to the 10-yard line. Well, Dave Ritchie can scarcely believe what's happening to his football team. The first fumble was returned for a touchdown. This one negates what would have been a Montreal score.
Remember, Montreal had a very short work week. They played the human game in Hamilton. They had one kind of off day on Montreal. They're right back to work. It can really provide dividends for Winnipeg later in the game.
Mike Pringle's 9th fumble of the year. Dodd has it complete as he gets it to Mitch running, and running has a first down as he goes out at the 20-yard line.
And you watch a play like that, you can really see the confidence in Cobb in the sense that he throws right on timing. Footwork is perfect. The catch is right on. Hit him in stride right up the field. This is a very well executed half screen pass, so to speak, half sprint pass.
You can see that Troy Cobb has a cannon. I mean, he can bring it.
He sure can.
First down from the 20. Millington. Out he goes to the 27. And who's this guy wearing 25?
Well, if you watch this, the handoff between Cobb and Millington was perfect. They meshed right on the point, right on the line of scrimmage, which means there's less time for the linebackers to react. Wouldn't it have been wonderful if they could have done this early in the season, but it's 1-2, bang, Willington makes one cut towards the inside, continues, hard driving fullback. Great second and 2 is a perfect situation.
Gain of 7 on the play. Millington again. Tripped up as he crosses the 30. He'll be close to another Winnipeg Blue Bomber first down, and this is the kind of football that reminds you of the good old days in Winnipeg when Willard Reeves was playing on offense and Ty Jones and James West were on defense, and I know those weren't great days for you, Chris.
I remember them well. I had many a nightmare with that group of linebackers, but this is great for Winnipeg. I can almost imagine that Ryan Bowen at halftime was challenging his offensive line to take the game over right now from the first drive.
And it was a first down. Go 216, 216. Play fake, caught over the middle, almost intercepted. Brian Clark knocked it down. Mitch running was the intended target.
That was a really good play by Clark because running, they had him right in stride, and that would have been a big play. You look at Montreal defensively, there's 2 players that have really come through and played some exceptional football. One is Brian Clark right there, and the other one is Byron Miles, 2 young football players that have really made an impact.
Unfortunately, there's a penalty against the Montreal Alouettes. Unnecessary roughness is the call against Montreal. We didn't get the number, but it is a first down for Winnipeg at the 45. Wow. Normally, it's been big penalties that have been killing the Bombers. Here, it helps them. Pump fake, firing it through the middle. And you can hear them yelling from the Winnipeg bench, don't do that.
Yes. And you know what? I would have said the same thing. Troy Cobb has to be patient. In his mind, now he's getting a little cocky. He says, hey, I'll take this over. I'll make the play. Well, no. You take what the defense gives you when the circumstances are right. Then you have the play. Because if that football would have been intercepted, there was nobody between a touchdown and the Winnipeg defender except Troy Cobb. That was a risky football play.
He's just 4 for 12 passing in the game. Through the middle of the Montreal defenders, but Millington is tripped up by Stephon Reed, and it'll be third down, Bombers.
And a really good play by Stephon Reed. A lot of times linebackers study tendencies so much on offense, and in certain situations, certain down and distances, they're already in their mind anticipating a certain play happening, and Stephon Reed made the right assessment. He kind of had a feeling there would be a screen, stayed at home, made the tackle.
Probably the offensive line's fault.
Probably, well.
You almost
yeah, no, I almost bit on that. It's true.
Got to defend your guys, don't you?
I know, and I will.
Bob Cameron back to punt. Thomas Haskins and Matt Cody back to receive. It's a fake direct snap. And look out, here comes Dylan McCullough. Down he goes to the 36-yard line. They'll actually mark it at the 38. It's a 27-yard gain on the direct snap to Dylan McCullough.
And when you watch this play, this is what surprises me, is that the snap goes right there to gain to McCullough. Usually it's an outside play, but this is right up the middle. Very well executed. And once again, it gets back to Jeff Reinbold being aggressive at critical times. You have to maintain that mentality.
Continues. Cobb gives it off to Millington. Millington down to the 31-yard line. Reed there to trip him up along with Tom Hipps.
Well, as much as I thought Jeff Reinbold would challenge his offensive line, I really thought that Dave Ritchie would challenge Peterson and Hipps, in the sense that right now the vast majority of these running plays are right in between the tackles.
The Bombers are already 40 yards over their rushing average for the season.
It's amazing how much a good running game opens every other aspect of offense.
And it also takes away from Montreal's running game if the Alouettes are behind. Millington again. First down to the 24-yard line. And the crowd here in Winnipeg is loving it.
Well, they're loving it because it's physical football, Gord. It's the fact that you're running right at them. This is not fancy. This is man-on-man. This is base steps, sustaining blocks, and having your running back, Sean Millington, hit that hole as fast as you possibly can. And this kind of thing develops momentum. It develops confidence. The more you do this, the more you start believing you're going to win.
12th play of the drive. Millington again. And down he goes to the 13-yard line for another Winnipeg first down.
And Gord, you made the comment that the third quarter has been the worst quarter in production for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Not tonight.
There's a flag down on the play. And it's in the Winnipeg backfield. Until tonight, Sean Millington's best rushing performance had been 42 yards. And the penalty is against Winnipeg, so that last game will be negated. And still waiting for them to sort this penalty out. First of all, they're going to measure and see how far he got.
Well, regardless of the penalty, this has been an outstanding third quarter for Winnipeg. Every game that I have watched, 90% of the time, they fall apart in the third quarter. Not this time. This is the time where they're taking it over and kind of handing it to Montreal. They're really running basic football plays.
And apparently there was no infraction on the play, so the gain will stand for Millington. He's got 79 yards rushing on the night.
Major foul, objectionable conduct, Winnipeg 89, it's second down.
So there is a penalty on the play, and it's against Winnipeg's Cotto Cott. So they will march it off, and back to the 24-yard line they go. The game stands. The penalty comes after the play, and it's second down, Winnipeg.
Well, surprising. I mean, in a situation like this, you have to control your emotions. The field position is everything. The Bombers need a touchdown to make a separation in points. They're up by 15. 22 would be a lot better right now.
So instead of having second and inches, it's second and 11. Look out. Get it away to running, and running will come up a couple of yards short of a Winnipeg first down. Well, a pickup of 8 yards.
Well, I think you have to go for the field goal in any instance, because the more points you have, the harder it is for a team like Montreal, who doesn't have the comeback ability compared to other teams. A nice pass by Cott, nice catch, turn upfield, head for the sticks. Nice play by running.
Christopher Perez for Winnipeg was urging the Bombers to go for it. So were the fans here. But they will send out the field goal unit as Troy Westwood will come out and try a 23-yard field goal with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. This would make it a 15-point lead. Low snap again. Westwood puts it up and good. Winnipeg comes away with 3 and leads by 15 on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won VTEX 900 megahertz digital cordless telephone with visual name and number call waiting caller ID, featuring 50 caller ID memory, 20 number speed dial storage, and backlit keypad. Or a Samsung Hi8 Hi-Fi stereo camcorder with color viewfinder, 12 times optical power zoom, built-in lens cover, and remote control. Simply treasured for now and for always. Simply Samsung. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
This is one of the most amazing things in the world. You can cut it, shape it, fasten it together, make just about anything you want out of it, and be really proud of what you've done. At Home Building Centers, we buy big, with more stores providing building supplies to people all across Canada. No matter how big a job you're facing, we can help you handle it. Home Building Centers, we've got your lumber.
You expect to drive your Toyota for a long time. But servicing is key. Some mechanics know a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. Only Toyota quality service guarantees the work is done right by the time promised at the price quoted. They've even put their name on it. Just look for this quality service pledge only at your Toyota retailer.
Toyota Quality Service, the one to trust.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you in part by Midas, car care the way it should be.
Light rain continuing to fall here in Winnipeg as the Blue Bombers have a 15-point lead on the Montreal Alouettes. Mike Pringle 5 yards away from his Canadian Football League record. Play action fake to Pringle. Calvillo, look out! Out he goes. Joe Fleming got it.
Well, nice pursuit by Joe Fleming. Of all the defensive linemen that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have, Joe Fleming is the best because he combines the greatest ability of being physical and also having what is known as quick escape moves to get him into open space early. But this is a pursuit drill by the defensive line. And really, when you look at it, Calvillo panicked. He still had another second or two to make a pass completion.
Fleming drafted by the St. Louis Blues of the NHL in 1990. I'll tell you what, if he could skate, guys like Ty Domi would have to score goals.
I think so.
Second down and a bundle. Calvillo steps up, throws, and it's complete. No, it is is incomplete. The second official comes in and says that Armstrong was not able to hang on, and the Alouettes will be forced to punt.
Well, that's the second tune out by the Montreal Alouettes, and that is what is discouraging to an offense, and that is what is difficult for a defense, because the defense gets on and they literally don't even have enough time to adjust what the offense is doing to them, because next thing you know, you're back on the field. Those 2-and-outs really take the rhythm and take the overall ability of an offense out, because you never get anything going.
Eric Blunt back to receive the punt from Terry Baker. Good kick by Baker. Blunt to the 32. Out across the 45 he goes. He's finally wrapped up there. It's a return of 13 after a 51-yard punt. Back after this.
Your favorite CFL team now has their logo on your favorite credit card. It's the CFL MasterCard credit card. Support your team and take advantage of the benefits that over 346 million MasterCard cardholders worldwide are enjoying. Each stylized card has your team's logo on it. So support your team 12 months a year and pull out your card. Call 1-877-4CFL now for your CFL MasterCard credit card. When you pay with us, you play with us.
This year in Canada, there'll be over 140,000 emergency room visits because of asthma. That's why for the first time ever, we're holding asthma clinic days across the country, where people with asthma can have a personal consultation with a Health Watch pharmacist and receive a customized asthma plan to help manage this illness, free of charge. If you have asthma, please join us. By doing so, you could very well save yourself a trip to the hospital.
In the stadium, you're really not in the Grey Cup.
Not often you talk about the Montreal Alouettes and fail to mention Alfred Payton, but he's been held in check tonight.
Well, Alfred Payton defensively for Montreal is their big play guy. He usually comes up with a sack, which is a momentum shift, but you got to hand it to Christopher Perez at 6'6", 285, and a good solid technician. He's getting the job done versus the swift and really consistent Alfred Payton.
First down. Cobb has it wide open to Connor Cotton, and Cotton takes a couple of shots and gets down to the Montreal 45-yard line. A pickup of 20 yards.
Pickup of 20 yards, and what I really like by Cobb is his decision in that there's no hesitation. The ball comes out of his hand with velocity, accuracy, and the harder you throw the ball, that gives the receiver more time to catch it and move. And you watch here, he can turn his shoulders upfield, and off he goes, and makes a nice move, slides in. First down.
First down, Winnipeg. 5:45 to go in the third quarter. Sean Millington. Tom Hips jumps all over him as Millington has a gain of about 3 yards.
And, you know, you still have to run Sean Millington. He has to be a part of your game because there comes a point where you want to get some time off the clock, and that's what Sean Millington is there for. But really, the one kid, the one person that may be struggling right now is the Edward Thomas. At 6 feet, 216, it's a physical mismatch. Front side, back side, and a point of attack. Right now, Winnipeg is taking care of and taking advantage of that young player.
Second down. Cobb whistles it in there, and the catch is made by Mitch Running. That was a missile from Troy Cobb.
That was a missile from Troy Cobb, and that's a confidence builder, too, because it's one thing to throw a nice little down and out, get it to your receiver, he turns upfield and gains yard. But when you can throw it right down the middle as fast as he did, and with the amount of accuracy he did, that's what it's all about, being a good quarterback. That's a big-time quarterback play.
You could hang your laundry on that one. A pickup of 11, first down just inside the 30. Winnipeg has not scored an offensive touchdown in the third quarter this season. Cobb going deep to Cotton. Hand fighting down there with Douglas Kraft. And
And there is no call on the play. And really one of the keys to this success of being able to get the ball downfield has been left tackle Christopher Perez against Alfred Payton. Good technique. Alfred tries the inside move. It's taken away. Tries the outside move. Shuffles his feet. He's right there. Perfect body position by Chris Perez.
And the Bombers continue to march into the wind here in Winnipeg, which is another key factor in this football game. Second down, just inside the 30. Draw play to Millington. And he is tripped up. Stopped by Stefan Rain. It'll be a gain of 3, but Winnipeg will once again have to try a field goal.
But once again, a nice job by Christopher Perez, one of the most consistent left tackles within the league. Short set this time. Draw play, aggressively attacks the inside shoulder of Payton. Now look at that body position. Inside out, he has Payton on that play.
And so we'll get another field goal try from Troy Westwood, who is 2 for 3 tonight. The try from just inside the 35-yard line. And one problem for Winnipeg tonight has been with the long snapping. We've had a couple of one-hoppers. That time the snap is good, and so is the field goal. Troy Westwood puts it through. The Bombers now open it up to an 18-point lead.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win. If your name appears, you won a fabulous trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You'll stay at the Villas Vallarta Hotel and fly Air Transat, all courtesy of World of Vacations, Canada's #1 tour operator to the sun. $1 million touchdown to win at Safeway Food and Drug.
No one can match their numbers. No one else has the tools to keep your Toyota running its absolute best. For the finest care, see only your Toyota retailer. Toyota Quality Service, the one to trust.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win for your chance to win $1 million. Participating products include Minute Maid, 5 Alive Juices, Purex bathroom tissue, Yoplait yogurt, or Yop yogurt drink. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
There have been 4 touchdowns in this game of 70 or more yards, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have turned in 3 of those big plays. And there's another big play to talk about. Mike Pringle rambled for 55 yards, but fumbled at the end of the play. The 9th time this season he's coughed up the football.
Well, Mike Pringle is going to fumble because of the number of carries, but it's the timing of this play. It's the fact that it happened early in the 3rd quarter. It's the fact that it happened at a time where Winnipeg needed a break, because that would have been right 1st and 10, touchdown to go. Very important in terms of the timing, not just the fact that he fumbled.
With 5 more yards rushing in the game, Pringle will go over 100 yards for the 9th consecutive game. That would be a Canadian Football League record. But on 1st down, they're throwing. Calvillo wants to go over the top for Armstrong. He's got it. In behind Nick Ferguson. Armstrong is down to the 39-yard line on the 7 route. His favorite, the corner.
The corner route. I mean, really, Anthony Calvillo can throw all the routes with effectiveness, but his best ones are right on the hash marks, right down the center of the field. Nice set, steps well into the football, and hits really almost in stride to the receiver. If they had a little more separation, that would have been a touchdown.
A 37-yard gain. 1st down, Montreal to the 38-yard line. Now the give to the fullback, Michael Souls, and he is stacked up by the Bomber defense and held to a gain of maybe a yard. Well, Chris Armstrong, as we mentioned a moment ago, part of the story of big plays, and on that last gain, he beat Nick Ferguson, and he did 2 on this 1st half touchdown.
Well, really, right now, Chris Armstrong is the most effective receiver for an Anthony Calvillo, and I mean, this is beautiful. You can't script this. You cannot write it up better than to hit the receiver all the way in the end zone. Big play, Montreal.
On 2nd down, Calvillo. Armstrong again, and that time it was Calvillo's chance to show off his accuracy as he threads the needle for a pickup of 9 and another Montreal first down.
In the Canadian Football League, you have to have production from your inside receivers, your slot backs, because they have more room to maneuver. A wide receiver is bounded by the field. You look at this right here. He has more room in all directions to make plays. And it's so much easier for the quarterback to find him because of the distance he has.
On first down, Calvillo to the end zone, climbing, almost made the circus catch, but it falls incomplete. Nick Ferguson there on the coverage. We saw Climby a couple weeks ago against Calgary haul in a pass exactly like that.
Yeah, you know, you hate to criticize Jacques Climby, but you know what? Catchable football. He has the distance. That's a catchable football. As hard as it seems, I know that sounds tough to say because it's right on the top of his fingertips, but that's what you have to do in that situation.
How many career catches do you have?
-2.
You have a catch?
Oh, I had one, but they took it back because of penalty.
Oh, that's cold.
I know.
Second down. Lots of time for Calvillo. Gunning it, and he's got it to Cahoon. Ben Cahoon makes the catch down to the 10-yard line. A pickup of 17 yards, just his second catch of the game, but it's a big one for the rookie.
Well, Ben Cahoon right now is the one player that hasn't been involved as much as he would like to be with the Montreal offense, and that happens sometimes where you don't hear from a player in the first, second, third quarter. Going into the fourth quarter, you're more aware from him. He gains the separation, makes the plays.
Calvillo rolling out now. Little dump pass for Souls, and it would have been a touchdown. And Calvillo can't believe it.
Well, when you look at this whole drive coming from Montreal's 20 all the way down to Winnipeg's 15-yard line, it really has been majority passing. I mean, right now, Dave Ritchie has said, we need a play and we need it quick. But Anthony Calvillo does a great job of using his feet for protection, gets the ball once again to Michael Souls. You got to make that play.
And Calvillo can't believe it. This drive began at the Alouette 35, and Mike Pringle has not been a part of it. Second down, look out! Calvillo slings it, it's incomplete. David Mieva was right in the Montreal backfield. That play never had a chance.
Jeff Reinbold's team defensively, when you get into their area, into their scoring area, they will pick and choose their points, but they will be aggressive because if they can force the quarterback to put the ball up, it changes from a 7-point opportunity to a 3-point opportunity. They brought both linebackers, they brought the defensive halfbacks, and it influenced Calvillo throwing the football because he didn't want to take the hit.
So it'll bring on Terry Baker for the field goal try. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Lance Funderburg is the holder. I just like saying his name.
That's a heck of a name.
Out of Valdosta State, that's where Mike Kelly, the former offensive coordinator, and Matt Dunnigan are coaching. Terry Baker puts it up and good. And the Alouettes now trail 31-16 with 37 seconds to go in the third quarter. A big catch made by Ben Cahoon on that drive. And this was a guy who was being touted as a Rookie of the Year candidate for the Montreal Alouettes, but he's cooled off a bit of late, the man from...
Well, what I liked about the whole drive is really Montreal kind of opened it up. They ran the football effectively early, but then they had a series of 4 or 5 plays where really they just started sprinting and dropping back and saying, we're going to try to stress the secondary of Winnipeg. And then Winnipeg adjusted nicely, brought the safety, brought the blitzing package, knocked them out of the possible touchdown. And sometimes that's how it goes. You have to anticipate what that offensive team is going to do. If you anticipate correctly, you usually get a play.
All right, the Montreal Alouettes will kick it off here, and we've had a kickoff return for the touchdown in the game, and that means one thing. If there's another return, kickoff return for a touchdown in this game, Gwen Lister of Winnipeg wins $1 million.
Wow. I hope she's listening.
Well, the problem is she lives here, and it's blacked out.
I know.
So, you know what? If you're watching the game, and you know Gwen Lister of Winnipeg, call her.
Call her and then ask for a percentage.
Oh. See, I know you pro athletes, that's all you think about, huh? Percentages, money, money, money.
No.
So if Blunt on the right or Dylan McCullough on the left, take it back. Gwen Lister of Winnipeg wins $1 million. Here's Blunt from the 7. Well, Gwen, better luck next time as Blunt gets out to the 30-yard line. 31 seconds to go here. And one of the things we've talked about this year, Chris, is the fact that Blunt returns punts, returns kickoffs, and plays running back. And you can see him shaking up here, and that's the danger, right?
Well, it really is, because when you're a punt returner and a kickoff returner, those type of plays are violent plays. You have bodies flying everywhere, so you are susceptible to injury because of all the different angles you can get hit from. The problem is Eric Blunt does it so effectively, it's very, very hard not to put him in the game at so many different opportunities. What he does well, he runs without fear, he accelerates, he takes the first seam he can see, and then if the play's blocked reasonably well, he's going to take it all the way. But he's been doing this consistently the entire season, and now it's paying dividends. I'm surprised they haven't been able to break more plays like this earlier in the year, because they do help you win football games.
Eric Blunt in the combined yards category has 2,500 yards coming into this game. Now he's approaching 3,000 thanks to his efforts tonight. Coming into this game, the next player in the league was Mike Pringle in that category, who has just over 1,500. In other words, Eric Blunt, all told, has accounted for more than nearly 1,000 yards more than anyone else in the Canadian Football League.
And when you think about it, that's pretty amazing, because those 1,000 yards are all based on plays that you need field position for. And that's so important. I mean, a lot of people say you set the tempo by special teams play. Well, you also set the emotion. You have a good special teams play. That offense or defense comes in there with a great frame of mind. That affects their play. From the 30.
The toss goes to McCullough. And McCullough around the corner in place of Blunt will pick up 3 yards with 6 seconds to go. And this should be the final play of the second quarter. Give Winnipeg credit, though. While the Bombers will likely not score an offensive touchdown in this quarter, they will take the time off the clock. And look at Troy Kopp. There's the rookie. He thinks the quarter's over because the clock hit 0.
Not only does he have to learn the rules, he has to learn the timing of the game as well.
Well, wait a minute. The clock hit 0. How does this work?
Yeah.
In the Canadian Football League, even when the clock hits 0, you get another play. Oh, he'll get some abuse about that, won't he?
Yep.
Kopp going over the top, looking for Cotton, and it's broken up by Doug Kraft and Tom Europe, who are all over Cotto Cotton. But the third quarter comes to an end with Winnipeg holding a 15-point lead on Montreal.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter.
Well, time after time this season, we have seen Winnipeg either leading at the half or definitely still in the game, and time after time they have collapsed in the third quarter. Finally, they did not do that tonight.
Well, coming into tonight's game, Winnipeg had been outscored in the third quarter, get this, by 95-25. Just unbelievable numbers. Yet tonight they won the third quarter 6-3. They had 2 field goals and, most importantly, James, a 7-minute drive.
Now, Troy Kopp has been a decent story. The first week, he was terrific against Saskatchewan. He was terrible against the Argos. After last week, I was starting to think he'd be the biggest one-hit wonder since Dexy's Midnight Runners. But no, he's played very well in this game.
Well, I think he's done fine, but I think the real story is Gary Hoffman's offensive line. They've taken over the line of scrimmage in this third quarter. They've gotten the ball to the big dog, Sean Millington, and Sean Millington finally looks like the difference maker that he is, James.
All right, what do you do if you're Winnipeg in the fourth quarter? You've been doing pretty much everything right so far. What do you do?
Avoid turnovers. Don't make mental mistakes. You're in good position. Don't give Montreal an opportunity to score on the short field.
All right, well, there was an earthquake in southern Ontario today. There might be a tremor or two in Winnipeg tonight if they hold on and win this one. They are ready to celebrate. For fourth quarter action, here's Gordon Schultze.
There was a what? An earthquake in southern Ontario today?
Wow.
I don't like that.
Neither do I, since we have to go back there tomorrow morning.
Gee, hope my house is okay.
You broadcasters always worried about your own personal perceptions, eh, Gord?
Oh, there it is. Well, here are the numbers after 3 quarters of play, and look at the net yards for the Alouettes, 325 to 234. If you looked at these and didn't know the score, you'd say, yeah, Montreal is probably comfortably in front.
Absolutely, but the biggest difference was the big plays, and really that separates teams so much. You can have consistent drives, and you can have great plays, but you have to make big plays. You have to score quick every now and then.
The concern is Eric Blunt. With more on that, here's Greg Musselman.
Okay, thank you, Gord. Eric Blunt on the sideline, kind of walking up and down, but limping quite badly. He told me he twisted his left ankle, hopes to get back in there, but he's had a big night, wants to get back out there, but at this moment, it looks like it could take a while here, so we'll see. Back to you guys.
Third quarter opens with Bob Cameron back to punt. Remember, they direct snap to Dylan McCullough earlier. You've got to think Montreal is wise to that now. Cameron hits it off the side of his foot. Bounces down to Haskins at the 40. Flags are down. That'll be no yards. And that'll be better field position for Montreal as Haskins goes out at the 48. And you can tack on at least 5 to that.
And Gord, if I'm the defensive coach for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now, I'm saying, guys, we are 1 turnover away from the victory. If you have Mike Pringle,
no yards. Winnipeg 25. Penalties decline. First down.
If you tackle Mike Pringle, get the football. We need 1 interception, 1 more big play to either make a play for a touchdown or position our offensive team for a touchdown.
Down by 15, the Alouettes have the ball at their own 48-yard line. Souls and Pringle in the backfield. Calvillo's up to throw. Fires it to the sidelines. Incomplete. Armstrong juggled it as he fell out of bounds. It'll be second down. You can really see, Chris, that the Alouettes are out of their rhythm when they're behind. This is not them throwing on first down.
That's correct, and it's not them because they are not a good second and long team. This plays right into what Winnipeg wants and what Winnipeg wants to do well, because it's 2nd and 10. Then they can take some risks, some logical blitzes, some confusing sets, disguised an attack. That's what Reinbold loves.
Here comes the blitz on 2nd down. Calvillo steps up and gets dropped. Joe Fleming sitting on top of the Montreal quarterback. And there was nothing Montreal could do.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the best things about this play is watch Michael Souls come in here and a good block on David Mieva. In reality, Anthony Calvillo had those seconds to get rid of that ball. Sometimes the receivers have to help you out. When they read blitz, they got to find those open areas to help your quarterback. I don't think that happened on that play for Anthony Calvillo.
4 sacks tonight for Winnipeg, and Joe Fleming's got 2 of them. Matt DeBuck is back to receive the punt. Flags are down. Now this is DeBuck in place of Eric Blunt, who is still shaken up on the Winnipeg sideline. And here's the call. Illegal procedure. Number 6, Montreal. Procedure is the call against the Alouettes, Hensey Charles.
Well, Gord, with 13:53 left in the game, there's going to come a point offensively that Montreal is going to have to consistently put the football in the air. It's not quite there, but in this drive, if Winnipeg can gain some field position, pin Montreal back, that's almost as good as a field goal or a touchdown, because now you're playing a clock.
Baker booms it. DeBuck all the way back to the 30 and pushed out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Now, Winnipeg Blue Bombers have the lead, and they'll have the ball when we come back.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won the Minolta Dimage digital still camera with built-in flash, 1.8-inch color LCD monitor, and 64-image storage. A great way to break into the world of digital photography. Dimage from Minolta. It's great fun. Or a set of Revere Pro Line cookware from Corning. Designed for durability and a lifetime of use. Retains moisture, flavor, and nutrients while cooking. Corningware, a balance of practicality and performance. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
AWS, 5-front suspension, case-read liquid cooled engine, awesome power to weight, not to mention fast track launch level rear suspension with torque sensing link.
Get up to $400 in CAT cash or no down payment, no interest and no payments till 99.
Gord Miller along with Chris Schultz here at the Winnipeg Stadium. A nice night for football and a nice night for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on one of the best teams in the CFL.
Well, one of the best teams, and I'm really surprised. I didn't anticipate Winnipeg would be able to make a number of big plays. More than anything else, offensive line domination. They are truly dominating that space between the defense and the offensive line, and this has to be a big concern for Dave Ritchie because that's fundamental football. You can't change that quickly.
Well, we flew here with the Montreal Alouettes. It might be a long flight home if they drop one to the Bombers. On first down, Dylan McCullough on the carry, and he'll get out across the 40 to the 44-yard line for a gain of 5.
And Tommy Europe was on the tackle, and you can't see it in your picture frame, but now Montreal is taking risks with their free safety, Tommy Europe. Before the play, he's cheating. He's getting closer and closer to the line of scrimmage to try to get a second and long and stop that running play to get the clock in advantage. A play-action pass, post pattern, that's what I would do.
Now, the danger is there's a lot of time left.
Yes, you are right.
And when you're Winnipeg, the roof has caved in before. Second down. All day, Cobb gets it away for Mitch running. Up he goes, incomplete. Mark Washington, the extra defensive back, was in on the coverage for Montreal. It's incomplete, and the Bombers will have to punt.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a gutty play right here. Watch Peterson here. He's going to get the pressure on Troy Kopp, and Troy Kopp waits and waits and waits. The quality of a good quarterback. Doesn't have his first read, his second read. Good shot by Peterson. Underrated football player for the Montreal Alouettes. Gets a lot of tackles, makes a lot of unnoticed plays.
You like that telestrator?
Yeah, I sure do.
Easy game from up here.
It is.
Cameron back to kick. Baron Miles almost blocked it. Cameron booms it. Haskins back to the 18-yard line. Haskins. If he'd gotten 2 steps the other way, he might have got a long way. He's brought down on the play by Mitch running. Montreal trailing by 15 in Winnipeg.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. All night we have been showing you the home run heroics of Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire, both at 66 now and counting. How about the NL wildcard race? Cubs are losing to the Astros right now, 6-2 in the 7th. As for Bobby Valentine and his Mets taking on Atlanta, bottom of the first. Braves with 2 men on, and Butch Husky boots that one, and as a result, the 2 runs are in to zip Atlanta. Braves add to the lead in the 4th. Andrew Jones facing Rick Reed. That is back and gone, a 2-run shot, 4-2 Mets, and now the Braves with that 5-4 lead right now. So both clubs in trouble as far as that NL wildcard race is concerned. Elsewhere, Tigers getting by the Blue Jays 7-5. We will have all the scores, all the highlights coming up on Sports Desk, which will be following the football game, and we will go right back to Manitoba's capital, Winnipeg, right after this short timeout.
Hi, I cover the weather all across Canada, but no one covers the country like Comfort and Quality Inns and Hotels. Just look at this coverage. Out west and throughout the prairies, we see widespread locations across Ontario and Quebec. This coverage continues right through the Maritimes, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. The 7-day forecast calls for more travelers discovering we've got something for everyone practically everywhere. And that's more than I can say about my forecast.
CFL Live on Sunday from Taylor Field in Regina, Calgary and Saskatchewan. 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. A key game, especially for Saskatchewan, as the Riders try to make a run to the playoffs. And if you're in Saskatchewan, there's the number to call for tickets to go to Taylor Field on Sunday. Here, Montreal first down. The Alouettes at their 31-yard line. Here's Mike Pringle. And Pringle might get a yard if they're generous. Not much going on there, and I'll tell you what, Mike Pringle is having a tough night rushing against this Winnipeg defense.
Well, we anticipated that he would get his yards, and it's just the type of thing. And you look at he is now, after 8 games, he has the 100 yards, same as Willard Reeves, Johnny Bright. I mean, that's an amazing record of sustainability.
No gain on the play. He's still 5 short of 100. Calvillo drops it off for Pringle on the reception. And Pringle has a first down. out to the 47-yard line. Mike Pringle, very much an underrated receiver, picks up 16 yards on the play. He's got over 300 yards receiving on the season.
Well, if you can't run the football, then use him as a pass receiver. And what happens is the minute you fake the ball to Pringle or he's not directly involved, then he kind of slides through that offensive line, defensive line. You're not as aware of him as a receiver.
And then he gets to hit defensive backs.
Yum, yum. I'm sure he looks forward to that.
First down, Montreal. Calvillo swings it up for Pringle. Boom! In he goes to Brandon Hamilton, vaulting up and over for a gain of 10 yards, and should be close to another first down. There's big Neil Ford. Ooh, biggest Neil Ford.
I tell you what, Neil Ford right there is a heck of a football player. He may not necessarily look like it, but the guy has excellent disciplined footwork. He gets great separation with his hands. He's a good technique player. It's surprising a man that big can work that efficiently that long.
He's an investment advisor in the offseason. I'll tell you what, if a 350-pound guy told me to, I'd buy Briex. I don't care what he told me. You know, like, I don't care. Swampland in Florida, the Brooklyn Bridge, whatever he wants. Okay, Neil, sold.
Well, we talked to Neil Ford before the game, and I mean, we had the most casual conversation about football and what he was doing, and he was joking with us. And you can just see he has that ability to go on the football and be a different person. That's so important, your state of mind during a game.
First down, Alouettes. Calvillo wants to go deep. His arm was hit, and it's intercepted. Antonio Banks, in his first CFL game, he's got a fumble recovery, and now an interception.
Well, I could see that coming because really the ball was up in the air so long, and when it's up that long, really the defensive backs have more time to get into position and make a play. Everything in football comes down to seconds, and it was a bad decision by Anthony Calvillo. He threw the ball too short. Nice positioning by the defensive backs, and like you said, an excellent interception.
And Calvillo, who had his arm hit, can scarcely believe it, but Anthony Calvillo's rap sheet is interceptions. He comes into this game in his career with 66 interceptions and 61 touchdown passes.
It's amazing distribution of good and bad.
First down. Oh, Dylan McCullough submarine by Stephon Reed, who leapt into the backfield and undercut the Winnipeg running back. There's still just under 10 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter.
And, you know, sometimes you have to do that because there comes a point in the game where you have to take risks. And really, when you look at Stephon Reed, 6'2", 220, he has to make plays right on the line of scrimmage. You can't give up second. You have 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 4 situations. You want 2nd and 10 to create plays.
The BC native, former Ottawa Rough Rider. Play action. Kopp going deep. And again, Troy Kopp, who threw that pass a mile, but his receiver only went 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, Troy Kopp pressured on the play by Alfred Payton for one of the first times throughout the game. And it makes such a big difference in terms of how quickly you get rid of the ball. You watch out for Payton right here. He's finally going to get a good move. This time on Todd Furtick. Uses Furtick's momentum on the outside set against him. Takes the inside seam. Makes the play.
Furtick kind of spiked him there.
Yes, he did. That's what all good offensive linemen do. Spike defensive linemen.
Oh, is that right?
It's very easy to remember that.
Up here, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll have to remember that. You're kind of up for this, aren't you? Yeah, you like this, all this blocking and hitting and all that stuff. Look out! Cameron just got it away. And it'll bounce out of bounds inside the 45 at the Montreal 42-yard line. Exactly 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And by the way, Mike Pringle is now 6 yards away from 100 yards in the game because he actually lost a yard on a carry earlier. And so tonight he needs 6 for his 9th consecutive 100-yard game. And that would be the Canadian Football League record.
That'd be quite an accomplishment because it's based on durability, toughness, athletic ability, a lot of different reasons for that success.
Look out, Calvillo's under pressure. And he will jog out of bounds for a gain of maybe 1. By the way, Mike Pringle has passed Johnny Bright on the list for most career 100-yard games. But no one had more than George Reed. 66 times in his career, George Reed rushed for 100 yards or more.
Not only can he run the football, but watch Mike Pringle here, number 27, block. Bang!
Oh, man. Oh, my Lord. Hey, you know what? That's Tyrone Rogers weighs 295 pounds. That's a heck of a shot. Pancaked him there. Second down. Here comes the rush. Calvillo shoveled it, and it's incomplete. And once again, it was a jailbreak from that Winnipeg defense.
An observation on Anthony Calvillo, not so much a criticism, but I look at him and I compare him to other quarterbacks that have similar skills, to Danny McManus, to Kerwin Bell, and he just panics a split second early. He doesn't necessarily have to move out of that. There's still a yard and a half between him and the defensive lineman. It's very easy to say that up here, but that is the difference, just those moments of hesitation.
Terry Baker gets the kick away. He went down. There's no flag. This is DeBuck from the 18-yard line, and DeBuck gets thrown down right away at the 21. Good job on the special teams play by Steve Charbonneau, a 48-yard punt and a return of 3. And Chris, you talked about it at the start of the game, what the keys were to the football game, and let's see how you're doing. Well, not tackle, Pringle on contact. We'll give a check mark there. Get the ball to Stiegel. Okay. And Kopp must be patient. Well, I don't know.
Well, you know, I think the running game has helped Kopp as much as anything else being patient. I think at this point in the game with 8 minutes and 9 seconds, this is where you can take it over with a Sean Millington. Even if you get 40 yards and get 3 or 4 minutes off the clock, that's a good scenario for Winnipeg.
Keep possession for the Bombers, though.
Yes.
Under 8 minutes to go. Kopp up and throwing. Wide open to Stiegel. Look out, because Stiegel can shake and bake. And Torrey Hunter had to stay with him. But Stiegel with a 14-yard gain and a first down.
You know, everything happens so fast for quarterbacks, and one of the most difficult thing to do is to find the open receiver, and you use your feet and you use your speed. That was a good play by Troy Kopp, doing what was necessary to find the open man.
And this was the first half return on the reverse when Eric Blunt flipped him the football. And Milt Stiegel got away from Charbonneau. Michael Souls got wiped out in the block, and it was off to the races from there. Now here's McCullough. And Dylan McCullough gets out to the 42-yard line. One of the interesting things, Chris, that we've seen in this game tonight is Winnipeg using 3 different running backs. Eric Blunt, Sean Millington, and Dylan McCullough, and all effectively.
All effectively because they're all different type of athletes. Sean Millington is the power back. You give it to him in between the tackles. Dean McCullough is the type of athlete that can take a football player and run it in the middle and break it to the outside. And then you mentioned Blunt. He's similar in the sense that he has more speed than a Sean Millington, so it gives a different look for the linebackers and the defensive line every time.
Kopp out of the backfield he goes and completes a Stiegel. Should be close to another first down, and it is, in fact, a first down for Winnipeg.
And still a nice play by Troy Kopp because he throws the football to protect the football upfield to Stiegel where only he can catch the football, so there's less opportunity for a strip, less opportunity for an interception. Throwing footballs to the outside of a field is tough because it hangs there for a while. Pretty good break on the ball by Baron Miles, but still nice positional throw by Troy Kopp.
6:20 to go here in the fourth quarter. We pointed out, taking time off the clock a priority. They've eaten up 2 minutes so far. First down. Kopp in behind Stiegel, and the pass falls incomplete. The significance of this game for Winnipeg is very simple. The Bombers, with a win tonight, would move to 2 victories on the year. Now, if the 4th place team in one division has a better record than the 3rd place team in the other division, the 4th place team makes the playoffs. BC and Saskatchewan both have just 3 wins. So in other words, a win tonight by Winnipeg, and they would be 1 victory away from a potential playoff spot.
Puts a lot of pressure on the BC Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders to make some plays and win games.
Kopp on second down. Over the top he goes for Stiegel. Incomplete. Stegall leapt up there with Baron Miles, the rookie, and Miles was able to knock it down.
You know, Gord, Baron Miles really impresses me as a rookie football player because that was excellent positioning. I mean, there's very little Stegall can do. He has his shoulders turned, he anticipates, and he times his jump well. You can have the greatest vertical in the world, but if you don't time that jump right at the point, at the top point of the football, you're not going to make the play. Baron Miles is playing some good football going against a great receiver in Milt Stegall.
Bob Cameron once again called upon to punt. Baron Miles has been close to the block on the last two. Matt Cody and Thomas Haskins back to receive. And a great kick by Cameron. Haskins from the 17. Here comes Haskins. Up the sideline he goes. Cameron's got a chance, slows him down, and Reggie Carthon saves a touchdown. But the Montreal Alouettes have great field position and time to work with on Adidas Friday Night Football.
You know what else we need in this backyard?
A garage.
At more than 270 home building centers, we have lots of amazing things. We've got your lumber. We've got your plans.
Now this is perfect.
We've got everything you need for your building or renovation project.
Hey, how about these for the dining room?
Home Building Center, we've got your lumber.
What if we needed another bedroom?
What does it mean to be a man? Well, the best thing is to be a gentleman. I mean, really gentle and really a man.
Contradiction from Man, a new fragrance from Calvin Klein. At the Bay.
The arm bone is connected to the hand bone. The hand bone is connected to the finger bone. The finger bone's connected to the mouse. The mouse is instantly and permanently connected to the internet. Okay, all together now.
A 56-yard punt return by Thomas Haskins has set up the man on the left, Dave Ritchie. His team has good field position, but the story of this game, all kinds of big plays, 4 touchdowns over 70 yards. Mike Pringle getting close to 100, but he's not there yet. First down, Montreal. Play fake. Calvillo to Cody. Matt Cody should have a first down as he gets down to the 25-yard line. Lots of time for Montreal. A gain of 13 yards, and we're at 4:56 to go.
You know, I really like that play call because the hitch pass, if it is executed properly, you can get a touchdown because it takes advantage of pursuit angles, and you get the football, you sprint upfield. They have to come up with one more play that they haven't called, something different.
First down. Play fake to Pringle. Same play to Cody, and he nearly got his head taken off, and they're going to call the flag on Brandon Hamilton, and Jeff Reinbold is beside himself on the Winnipeg bench.
Well, remember, there's accidental face masking, and then there's face masking where it's premeditated. It's a difference of 10 yards, I believe.
Here's the call.
Major foul, face mask, Winnipeg 3.
It's a 15-yard penalty. A first down for Montreal, and the ball all the way down to the 13. What a brutal break for Winnipeg.
Well, this is a well-timed play, and you got to assess that is an aggressive play. See, that to me is a little bit of that's a 5-yarder to me. I don't think that would be a 15-yard penalty. That's not a thought-out play. He's not trying to punish. He's trying to grab a shoulder pad.
First down, Montreal. Pringle, the record. And down to the 4. That is 9 consecutive 100-yard rushing games for Mike Pringle, who could probably care less right now. Most importantly,
he's got his team closer to the end zone.
And you're exactly right, because when we were talking to Mike Pringle on the field before the game, I said, how conscious are you of this record? And he says, honestly, to tell you the truth, if we win the football game, I don't get the record. If I get the record, we win the football game, it's icing on a cake. That's a nice attitude by a great running back, but you know what? I hope he gets the record.
And Mike Pringle is hurt. So on the play that breaks the record, Pringle goes down.
Now, I know a little bit about this. If you can get up and walk a few steps, it may not be that serious. It may be a contusion rather than a ligament or cartilage damage.
And he breaks a record that he shared with Willard Reeves, the former Bomber, and Johnny Brighton. That looked like a helmet right on the thigh.
Right on the thigh, which hyperextended his knee back.
But the significance is now it's 2nd and 2 for Montreal. They're at the 5-yard line. This is Pringle territory, Pringle time, right?
It sure is. The only benefit here is the other running back, Thomas Haskins, is a good one. He's a little bit faster than Pringle. Will give the defense a little look. They do drop off a lot of bit when you put your second-string running back, but they still have a quality one in Haskins.
And you see Haskins, number 4, looking on, saying, Mike, get up.
Yeah, please.
Get up. But, of course, no matter what happens, now as the trainers have come out, Pringle has to go to the sidelines. And there are the 9 consecutive 100-yard games. And look at how close he came to not breaking the record the last couple of weeks against Hamilton, 102 and 100.
Yep, that's amazing.
And 153 against the Calgary Stampeders is a phenomenal performance.
That one really surprised me, but the fact that he gained all these yards just shows how much this team is dependent on running. This is a unique situation. Do you go for the end zone shot or you go for the first down? This is a tough call.
Under 4 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Haskins lined up deep in the eye behind Souls. Haskins. Touchdown. Thomas Haskins into the end zone for a 4-yard touchdown for the Montreal Alouettes. And that is Haskins' first touchdown of the year. It's a big one. 3:35 to go here. Now Dave Ritchie has a decision. Do you go for 2? He's going to go for 1 now. That'll bring them within 8.
Thomas Haskins made a nice run on the play, and really, if Thomas Haskins wasn't behind Mike Pringle, I think he'd be a starter somewhere in the Canadian Football League. He has all the right qualities as a running back. Runs with acceleration, runs with heart, runs with strength.
In his first start last year in the Canadian Football League, he ran for 97 yards against the Toronto Argonauts, who had the league's #1 defense last year.
Yep.
So now the situation is 3:31 to go. Montreal down by 8. Let's put you in the coaching situation. And you look at Michael Souls and the job he does.
Well, here's Michael Souls right here, one of the more underrated players in the Canadian Football League. And watch this block. Gains momentum. He knows exactly who he's going to get. It's a kick-out block. Haskins reads the block, slices right behind Souls. Touchdown.
Okay, Coach. Okay, let me ask you this as we take another look at the touchdown. Do you kick it short here, or do you boot it deep and hope for the stop?
Well, I think number one, you boot it deep, you hope for the stop, but you have to tell your defense, this is up to us to stop them in their end. If we get the football, we have the momentum to get it back. First things first, you get your defense in the right state of mind. You challenge them, and you say you can win the game right here, right now. If it's a short kick and Winnipeg gets it, that's too much field position. And this is a game of field position and big plays. Kick it deep.
Winnipeg coach Jeff Reinbold not even looking at this play. He's already huddling with the defense to plan what they'll do the next time Montreal gets the ball.
I don't think Jeff Reinbold is even breathing right now. I think after that touchdown, he's taking one big breath, and he's going to hold it in until the outcome of this game. This is very important to the players and Jeff Reinbold, and it looks like we do have an onside kick.
Well, Baker, will send it deep out of that formation. This is Dylan McCullough from the 18-yard line. And McCullough with a flag down gets up to the 35-yard line. Well, the scoring drive for the Montreal Alouettes brought to you by Chrysler Canada. We're not just building cars and trucks, we're building Canada. Haskins, don't forget, had the 56-yard punt return to set it all up, but he capped it off when Mike Pringle limped to the bench and scored his first touchdown of the season. Here's the call on the penalty. The call is against Winnipeg's number 5, Matt DeBuck. And as a result, the Bombers are back to their 22-yard line. 3:26 to go. Montreal has its timeout left, and we'll get a stoppage for the 3-minute warning.
We have a lot of time left in the game for 2 or 3 different positions by both teams. But the more time they get off, the more success they have now will really determine what type of plays Montreal calls when they get the football back.
Millington lined up deep in the backfield. Play action fake. Look out. Cobb gets it away to the block. He's hammered out of bounds by Douglas Kraft. And the gain is 5. It will be 2nd and 5. And we have reached the 3-minute warning in Winnipeg. The Bombers clinging to an 8-point lead against one of the best in the league.
This is one of the most amazing things in the world. You can cut it, shape it, fasten it together, make just about anything you want out of it, and be really proud of what you've done. At Home Building Centers, we buy big, with more stores providing building supplies to people all across Canada. No matter how big a job you're facing, we can help you handle it. Home Building Centers, we've got your lumber.
I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. I got soul. I got soul. I like it like that. You're a DJ ghetto. I like it like that. Hey, baby. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that.
If you ask us, Canada, it just tastes better.
Sunday, Taylor Field in Regina. The Stampeders and Riders play the second half of their home-and-home series. We'll have it for you on TSN, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. And if you are in Saskatchewan, there's where you can call for tickets. And tonight, more than 23,000 here. Pretty good for a team that's struggling. That's great in the Grey Cup City. And here's what we've seen so far. 31-23. The Bombers lead.
In a situation like this, you have 2nd and 4. You have 2 options. Number 1, you can either run a play that is well rehearsed, that is efficiently run during practice, or you go to a big-time player that you can depend on.
Winnipeg has not scored, Chris, an offensive touchdown in this football game.
All special teams play all big plays. Defense, amazing. And defense, yes.
2 on special teams, 1 on defense. 2nd and 5. Cobb. Quick throw. Eagles got the first down up to the 35-yard line. Here's Greg Musselman.
Okay, Gord, just talked to the trainer for the Montreal Alouettes, and Mike Pringle bruised a quad, but he'll get back in there once the Montreal Alouettes get the ball. But he is banged up, walking a little slowly, but he's, of course, a key guy to that offense, so he'll be back in there when the Owls get the ball back.
Now the question, when, if ever, will Montreal get the ball back? 2.5 minutes to play. Bombers move the sticks. It's a first down. Millington puts his head down. He's close to another first down.
Well, you got to hand it to Sean Millington. I mean, that's the #1 thing you want to be able to do in a situation like this where the clock is so important, is make contact and make the pile go forward. And with Sean Millington, his 14 carries for 95 yards, the longest being 26. That's the best game we've seen him have in the entire 1998 season.
And Sean Millington on night, when everyone talked about Mike Pringle, becomes the story running the football as the Bombers have nearly double their per-game average in rushing yards tonight. 2nd and inches, and the clock is running. Millington has the first down. Up to the 49-yard line he goes. Well, you think about it. A week ago, the Montreal Alouettes thought they'd have the win against Hamilton to tie for first place. And now, the Ticats may elude their grasp.
It's amazing how quickly things can turn around. Right now, at this point in the game, the Montreal offensive line, or excuse me, the Winnipeg offensive line is taking over. When you can run, and everybody knows you have to run, that's a difference.
Under 2 minutes to go now. Minute 45. Millington. Off tackle Millington. Past Europe. Still going. Millington. Down to the 20-yard line. And there's a flag on the play. A 39-yard gain, but face masking is the call against Montreal. Tack it on to the end of the play.
Boy, you got to love this by Sean Millington. He was criticized so much. People really have kind of written him off in terms of being a productive component with Winnipeg. But this is a big-time play at a key moment in the game. I think what's important now is Winnipeg's offensive line has to keep their emotions together. You see Mike Mihalik out there upset about something. You can't do stupid things right now.
Christopher Perez is escorting Mihalik to the sidelines to make sure that Mihalik doesn't get involved with anyone from Montreal. And Mihalik is taken out of the game. Sandy Annunziata will take his place. The call is against J.D. Watt, number 94. Mihalik gets a major foul and is ejected from the football game.
You watch Mike Mihalik right here. He is the right guard on the offensive line, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he's coming off with authority, makes good contact. Keep your hands inside. He gets the fist to the face, gets a little bit upset, sustains his block, and obviously had an altercation with Peterson.
Now Mihalik is being taken to the dressing room. He will be forced to leave the game. As a result, his penalty means that the Bombers are moved back to the Montreal 37-yard line.
Right, the penalty is assessed after the play is completed because it was behind the football. If it would have done earlier, then we would have seen the Bombers on their own 30. So in that instance, they're lucky.
Wow. But instead of having the ball inside the 15-yard line, and the other thing that happened is because of the penalties, the clock is stopped.
I know, and probably that's the single biggest thing. I mean, anytime you're in a situation where there really isn't a whole lot of points, today it's only 8 points, you are so conscious of the clock, so aware of every play you're going to run, when the clock is going to start, when the clock is not going to start. A key coaching point for people is the fact that if you're a good coach, you have great clock management. You're aware of every situation. What happens after a penalty? What happens out of bounds? On an incomplete pass, you use that to your advantage. It's critical for Jeff Reinbold to select his plays that he knows will sustain the clock, will keep it going.
So it's a first down from the Montreal 38-yard line. The clock will start on the snap. Millington gets about 4. We talked about Winnipeg's run at a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Talk about a murder schedule. From here, Winnipeg has Hamilton, Edmonton, Calgary, Montreal, Toronto. 5 teams with winning records.
5 teams with winning records and 5 teams that are very balanced, both offensively and defensively, and that's what's tough. I mean, it's easier to play a team where you know what they do well, take that away from them. But when they play the Calgary Stampeders, I mean, they have the running game and the passing game.
1:33 to go, and the Montreal Alouettes will burn their timeout on second down. Boy, what if they don't get anything here? Then do you try the field goal? Do you punt it? All kinds of possibilities here.
Well, we had the same scenario last Sunday afternoon with the Hamilton Ticats, and really Dave Ritchie was criticized for not punting the football. If they can get about a 5-yard closer distance, then I would kick the field goal. But you have to remember, of the 2 plays, it's easier to block a field goal than it is a punt.
All right. 1:33 to go. Once again, the clock will not start until the ball is snapped. It's second down and 7. Here comes the blitz. They give it to Millington, and he's tripped up for a gain of 2. As a result, the Bombers will send out the field goal unit. Troy Westwood will come out with a chance to put the game out of reach.
Still, I think it's an intelligent call, Gord. I mean, you don't want to take risks in this part of the field. I mean, you do have a young quarterback who is going to try to force the issue, try to make the big play, just hand it off, go for the conservative field goal. Hopefully they make it. Even if they don't, they may just get 1 more point out of it. That'll be the difference.
Now, the other thing, too, is remember that when the field goal unit is on the field, that's a lot of linemen out there.
That is a lot of linemen out there.
If Haskins has a chance to return it, it's a lot easier to return a field goal than a punt. From the 38-yard line, Troy Westwood puts it up, and it is good. 1:12 to go, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have an 11-point lead. This game, which was a track meet in the first half, has turned into a heavyweight bout in the second.
Well, It really has. I mean, when you looked at how the game evolved, the big plays, a little bit they were trading big plays, but there was a point in the second half where the Millington and the Mihalik and the Banconen and the Christopher Perez, they took over and they really were physical and were getting 5 and 6 yards a pop on the running game. When you can do that, it opens up different avenues of offense. And what a great feeling for Jeff Reinbold. I mean, he has not experienced winning that often. This is very important to him in his future, his present, and what happens tomorrow.
Everything, huh?
Everything, man. Well, now the players have won a game. It's not high. I'm 1-11. I'm 2-11.
What's the worst team you ever played on?
3-13. Tough year.
Nothing doing for the Alouettes as Calvillo is eaten up by Joe Fleming and Wesley Lisi.
Well, I had a feeling Joe Fleming would have a good game because we were talking to him before the game. He was amazing amount of intensity that comes from him. He's one of the best football players right here and right here. Lisi and Fleming, you put them side by side, you have a good pass rush. And if you watch Fleming here, it's a power move. He takes Brian Chew right to the quarterback.
Oh, look out.
Fleming does a good job of mixing up his techniques. He has what is called the total package as a defensive lineman.
5 sacks for the Bombers tonight, 3 for Joe Fleming. He's now got 13 on the year. Calvillo from the shotgun. Dumps it off for Souls. He wants to get out of bounds. And he will. Souls goes out at the 42. Now remember, the Bombers have to, the Alouettes rather, have to score, get to, recover an onside kickoff, and then kick a field goal in 44 seconds.
Yep, and there's going to come a decision here, whether it's this play or the next play. They got to go for 7.
What was the worst team you played on?
3-13, 1993.
Yeah, the Toronto Argonauts?
Toronto Argonauts. Long year. Kind of 4-14 or 14-14. That was a lot more fun.
Yeah, I'll bet. Calvillo slinging for Climbey. He's got the catch for a first down, but it's scarcely mattering now as Montreal's got to start going for the end zone.
Yeah, they really do. And they really, you look at what kind of patterns or what kind of plays you got to throw right down the middle in a seam situation or a fade. It's just a point in the game now. You don't have an option.
First down. Calvillo from the shotgun. He gets buried and gets it away to Chris Armstrong. And Armstrong gets down at the 52-yard line. Anthony Calvillo was destroyed, and Neil Fort is also injured on the play. Calvillo hasn't moved.
Well, this was about as vicious a hit as I've seen this year. We've had a lot of situations where we've seen quarterbacks get sandwiched and take some critical hits where you look at it and you're like, okay, kid, I hope you can get up. And this was one of them by Anthony Calvillo. And it's tough on an offensive line when you're in this situation because there's no deceptive plays. You can't run a trap. You can't run a screen. You can't run something to use the aggression of the defensive linemen against them. They know what's going to happen offensively. It's going to be a deep set. It's going to be a pass play.
There's Lance Funderburk, who is the man who will replace Anthony Calvillo. Funderburk has not thrown a pass yet in his career. And there's Neil Fort, down for Montreal. Here's Calvillo. Oh, my. Oh. He was just buried by Joe Fleming.
Well, what happened is Joe Fleming kind of put the top of his chin right, top of his forehead right on the chin of Anthony Calvillo. I'm sure that's either a mild or a more mild concussion because anytime you see the neck snap, that is the one thing that you don't want.
And now they're checking the right knee of Neil Fort, who was a CFL All-Star last year. Second time he'd been selected to the CFL All-Star team, and losing the football game is bad enough, but losing your right tackle, as you know so well, is so key. And he's on the right of your screen, number 66.
Well, if you look at Neil right here, he really got into position, an awkward body position. It's going to happen from behind.
Oh, no.
This happens to awful lot to offensive linemen because they can't see what's happening behind them, so they can't protect themselves. Very unfortunate for Neil, but he's up and walking, which is an excellent sign.
Neil Ford is up and moving, and we saw how heavily his ankles were taped before this game. There's about a roll of tape on each foot, and they managed to get the tape off that one foot and check it out. But what's a full Schultze?
A full Schultze is where you tape your knee from the top of your thigh all the way down to the mid of your calf.
Yeah, that's what they call a full Schultze.
What they call a full Schultze. They do it in Hamilton. A friend of mine, Carl Coulter, has kind of taken that last name and applied it to how you tape up your body in preparation for a game.
And now the concern is for Anthony Calvillo, who has still not moved after that hit. And Dave Ritchie now is out there checking out the condition of his quarterback. And Calvillo suffered some awful hits last year in Hamilton.
He really did. You know, it's funny in football because there's some situations, in particular for a quarterback, as we saw with Neil Ford in the offensive lineman, the right tackle, you can't protect yourself. I mean, Anthony Calvillo is trying to get rid of the football. He's trying to make a play. He's trying to win the game. He can't be aware of the fact that he's going to take a shot to the head. That's a tough, tough situation.
Calvillo is up now a little bit, and we'll take a break in Winnipeg. To Winnipeg, where with time winding down, Lance Funderburk's first CFL pass has been intercepted by Brandon Hamilton. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will record their second win of the season as they beat the Montreal Alouettes.
And Gord, they legitimately beat the Montreal Alouettes. They made some big plays. They ran the football. They got Sean Millington involved.
Didn't score an offensive touchdown.
Did not score an offensive touchdown, but Troy Cott did not lose the game for them either.
Tell you what, I sat next to Dave Ritchie on the flight out here. A note to Air Canada, I don't want to sit next to him all the way back. No, thank you.
I know. We haven't seen this formation from Winnipeg in a long time.
I know. And they'll have to do it one more time, and a crowd of better than 23,000 looks on and stands those who remain as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers move to 2-11 on the year. It may seem like a small step to some, but it's a big one here in Winnipeg. And they'll do it one more time. And the Bombers beat the Alouettes. Hope lives yet in Winnipeg that maybe the home team could somehow find its way into the Grey Cup game that will be played here, and fans flood onto the field. Don't forget, coming up next, Darren Natishin and Lisa Bose coming up with Sports Desk. That's in a few moments. Final score, Winnipeg 34, Montreal 23.